All right, guys, welcome everyone. It's Tuesday already. Can you believe it? My name is Brian Craig. Not very well caffeinated this morning. Oh, well, what can you do? I bought some coffee from home. Well, I bought coffee to have at home, and I bought decaf, and I didn't realize it was decaf until I had 2 cups of it. But that's okay. I went to Starbucks. Welcome to the show. It is Tuesday, September 1st. That's right, 2020. This is the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest-running radio show on the radio since 1977. Welcome. So much going on, so much happening. Have you guys heard of the Red Mirage? The Red Mirage. I heard about it the first time about an hour ago. This is the new scam that the Democrats have. So you understand, when Democrats lose, they cause civil war, they cause race riots, they contest everything. It's been stolen. A bunch of children, a bunch of babies, and that's how they roll. The Red Mirage. The Red Mirage. You're going to start hearing a lot about the Red Mirage, which is a great indicator that Trump is going to have a massive landslide victory. A Democratic data firm is predicting chaos on election night. Well, we have chaos every night thanks to these liberals in American cities. What's going to be different? Democrat data firm predicts chaos on election night with Donald Trump set for a landslide victory, which will take days to be revealed as victory for Joe Biden, thanks to postal votes. This is, I'll read you the whole article. The Red Mirage, which means on election night, it's going to look like Donald Trump had a landslide, but it's a mirage. It's not real, right? I'll read you the whole article, but this is a clip. This Democrat from this Democrat data firm. Can a data firm be a legitimate data firm if it's a politically biased one? It looks like they're mining for data that fits the conclusion they wanted to meet. Let me find this for you. Axios over on Home Box Office, HBO. Oh boy, gave a little bit of an interview. Here's a little tease clip from Axios' interview with this Democrat data firm about the Red Mirage.
A mirage, by definition, is something that appears to be there, but that doesn't really exist. And you have a model scenario called the Red Mirage. What does that mean?
The reason we talk about a red mirage is, in fact, because we believe that on election night, we are going to see Donald Trump in a stronger position than the reality actually is.
Okay, so we're going to see him in a stronger position than the reality is. So on election night, look for a landslide, but it's going to be a lie. Let me read you the article. This is in the Daily Mail. I did tweet this. The CEO of Michael Bloomberg's political data and tech agency warned in an interview that aired last night of mass chaos on election night as it appears Donald Trump is poised for another victory. John Mendelsohn, CEO of Hawkfish, revealed the firm has a, quote, Red Mirage model, which predicts the results come November. The reason we talk about a Red Mirage is in fact because we believe that on election night we are going to see Donald Trump in a stronger position than the reality actually is. That's what you heard in that clip. Okay. He claimed that unconventional factors for Election Day this year in the midst of the coronavirus pandemic are setting the stage for potential chaos. Yeah, chaos because the Democrats aren't going to concede and they're going to cause chaos. Mendelsohn said, while it may appear on November 3rd that Trump is the victor, it's likely the true results won't be known for days, as an unusual amount of mail-in ballots will be used this election in lieu of turning up in person to vote. So this means the fraud's going to begin, right? The fraud will begin with the mail-in ballots after election night is over. And the reason it'll begin after and not before is because then they'll know how much they got to stuff the boxes, how many phony ballots and bags are going to be found in basements and storerooms and things like this. The firm predicts that after mail-in ballots are accounted for, Democrat candidate Joe Biden will actually be revealed as the winner. President Trump has constantly railed against universal mail-in voting as Democrats push for the measure. The president claimed mail-in voting will cause higher instances of fraud. No kidding. No kidding. Yeah, so Bloomberg's behind this. I tell you, the red mirage. Suck it up. Do you think we were happy when Barack Obama won and was reelected? Do you think we were happy? We didn't go around burning down cities and things like this. We didn't go around stuffing mailboxes and coming up with schemes to fix elections. We just sucked it up and said it's America. We lost. And we'll get another chance in 4 years. Not the Democrats. Not the Democrats. And, everything the Democrats have been doing. Oh, by the way, the Bush family is helping Biden-Harris. I'm going to get to that in a minute. Just a little mental note to self. No, you didn't misunderstand that. The Bush family have operatives working with Biden. I know, shocker, right? We'll get to that. Don't worry. I don't want to forget these things. Oh, man. I tell you, the arrogance of Democrats. Even if I agreed with some of the things that Democrats believe in openly, I wouldn't be one. When you see how they are, right? Book burners, they're building burners, block burners, city burners. If democracy doesn't work out in their favor, they do what it is you see them doing now. They've done it before, they'll do it again. How could anyone be a part of something so evil? And when they're openly telling you, this thing about the red mirage, it's only going to look as if President Trump won on election night. Wait till we stuff the box. No, wait till the mail-in ballots come in after, Then you'll see the truth. What's scary to me is how Democrats feel so justified in committing voting fraud. And the reason they do, I learned this in the 2000 recount. That was when Al Gore and the Democrats had an unsuccessful coup of the presidency in 2000. This Trump coup was not the first coup. The first one that I know of was 1960. Remember, President Kennedy lost in 1960. Richard Nixon won the 1960 election. There was a coup. They stole it from him. They're attempting to do it again in this election. They tried it in 2000 and failed. But then I realized at the time, because there were a lot of Democrats running around here in Florida, in Broward and Palm Beach County during the 2000 recount, and I realized then Democrats, they think they represent the people. And if you represent the people, well, you're entitled to do whatever it is you got to do, to win, because you represent the people. And if you lose, that means the people aren't represented. So that's the way it is. The Democrats are in a major panic. This red tsunami is going to be such a landslide victory, they wouldn't be able to stuff the ballot boxes enough to eke it through. Now, Congress is another story, particular House races. But the Electoral College offers us some protection. And they're doing a lot. They're confusing mail-in balloting with absentee balloting. Absentee balloting is, and it's different in every state. Some states have even higher standards. You have to actually contact your local supervisor, like here in Florida. Okay, our absentee ballot system here in Florida. You contact your local county supervisor of elections office. You request an absentee ballot be sent to you because, for whatever reason, you can't vote in person. Maybe you work at the White House in D.C. Maybe you're sick. Maybe you're traveling. You know how it goes. And they mail it to you. The mail-in voting is not absentee voting. Mail-in voting is every fake, phony name on the voting rolls gets a ballot. And here in Florida, people will tell you that they still get ballots and information in the mail from people in their family that have been dead for 20 years. I've lived in my house for 16 years. The house I live in now, 16 years. I am still getting mail from 2 previous people that lived in the house before me that's election related. I haven't gotten a ballot, but I get election promotional materials, and things all the time. And most people in Florida will tell you that they get mail-in absentee ballot forms and all kinds of stuff for their dead parents and grandparents many years and even decades after that. So when they mail out a ballot to everyone on the voting rolls, well, hell, how do you know those people are real or alive? And you know how high-tech things are today. We were talking about this vote scam yesterday that this Bernie bro gave an interview to the New York Post. Just because a ballot is sent in does not mean that that's even a person who's registered to vote. What I mean by that is they could just photocopy ballots and fill them out and mail them in without any name or shove them into the pile. You understand what I mean? Are they going to be, there's going to be so much chaos caused by this. Are they actually going to verify if that ballot came from a living registered voter? No. And the Democrats know this. This is why they've got this brain-dead, senile old man who doesn't know what the hell's going on. Yesterday, I think they gave him a couple of Red Bulls before he went up there. He got a couple sentences out. And, you know how Democrats react to this? They sit around in verbal masturbation sessions laughing about vote fraud. They might not just be verbal sessions, too. You know how these guys are. But, you know, they think it's funny. Yeah, we're stealing the election. Screw you. Although they use the F word, you know, instead. This is crazy town. I was watching Nicole Wallace on MSNBC yesterday, who's a very despicable person. You know, she worked for John McCain. She's always got this look on her. She's always pissed off. She needs to call Dr. Mitch Matez. She must be suffering from all the signs and symptoms of menopause, it looks to me. No. But she worked for John McCain on his campaign in 2008, and I believe she's the person that's responsible for all the lies and slanders that came out of the campaign about Governor Palin. But anyway, she opened up her show today showing Bush at Ground Zero with the firefighter, and she had all this very poetic crap. Imagine, if you will, President George W. Bush, after 9/11, said he wasn't going to help New York because they don't vote for him in New York. What the hell? Trump is saying, let me the freak come into Portland. I'll clean it up. Portland isn't burning every single night because Trump is allowing it. He keeps saying, I saw him yesterday twice, let me come in. I just can't come in. We have laws. The governor requests me. I'll go in there. I'll clean it up like we did Kenosha. By the way, did you know President Trump said yesterday he cut murderers in half in Chicago with just sending in a few federal agents? And Nicole, this new narrative, the Red Mirage, and then this thing that all this stuff is happening in all these liberal cities, not because the Democrats that run it, it's because Trump won't, because they don't vote for him. Does anyone buy that line of crap? Our number is toll-free 1-888-GO-CANE-1, 888-465-2631. We'll take our break and be right back after this.
An outrageous fortune for your tires. Go easy on your budget and buy your tires at Friendly Tire in Margate, where they have all the major brands like Goodyear and Firestone at discount prices that absolutely can't be beaten. Steve Kane's tires for his Toyota van at the other shops, $175 a tire. At Friendly Tire, just $75 a tire. That's a $100 savings per tire. Tires for my daughter Emily's car, $135 at the shops around town. The price at Friendly Tire, only $65. That's a $70 savings per tire. These prices are out the door and on the road. Free mounting and balancing and no added charges. Friendly Tire have a great selection of good used tires too, starting at just $30 for most cars. Call my good buddy Friendly Mike at Friendly Tire. Tell him what you drive and he will give you a great low price right over the phone. 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445. Online, friendlytire.net.
This segment of the Steve Kane Show is brought to you by I Will Advisors. Seniors, medical open enrollment is approaching. Do you know what Medicare options are available to you? Call Debbie at 954-753-8080. 954-753-8080, and she will answer all your Medicare questions. 954-753-8080.
Steve Kane Show.
954-753-8080.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for WW.
All right, welcome back. 19 minutes after the hour. Now, you're going to hear us talk a lot today. Ace Hardware Deerfield, Beach Ace Hardware, have an incredible giveaway. Frank, the owner of both of those locations, has an incredible giveaway that we just are telling you guys about today for the first time. Frank, the owner of Ace Hardware Deerfield and Beach Ace Hardware, is giving away a brand new propane grill to a Steve Kane listener. All you have to do is go into either of those locations, tell them and enter to win. Tell them what you're there for. No purchase necessary. Isn't that nice? No purchase necessary. Beach Ace Hardware, Deerfield Ace Hardware. Ask for Frank. They'll know what you're talking about. I'm here about the grill. Listen to this. If, for whatever reason, you cannot have a propane grill, this is Frank at Ace Hardware. This gives you an idea of how much they look out for you. I never even occurred to me. He says, if someone wins who's in a condo, some condos don't allow propane grills. He'll replace it with an electric grill instead. By the way, this grill that he's giving away is just under $400. So you have your choice, the propane or the electric. There's a picture at SteveKaneShow.com of Steve with the grill, the propane grill. It's beautiful grill. I wish I could enter myself. Again, no purchase necessary. Just go into Deerfield Beach or Beach Ace Hardware, enter to win. Mention Frank when you go in the Steve Kane Show. I'm here for the grill, and it's a good deal. Oh, yeah. They will assemble the grill for you and deliver it to you as well. No charge. It's all free. Enter to win. And Beach Ace Hardware is in Lauderdale by the Sea, 232 Commercial Boulevard. And the Deerfield Ace Hardware is right down the street from the radio station, just south of Hillsborough, on the west side of 441 State Road 7. And go to SteveKaneShow.com. Take a look at Steve with that grill. It is a beautiful grill. All right, to the phones. You're on the radio. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Brian.
Richie.
Yeah, I'm going to say this to you because I think you I am an expert on Portland because I am viewing these riots every night for the last 2 months. Every night's the same thing. And you know what it is? It's F Trump and F the police. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
It's Trump and the police have a target on them. I mean, and what they do every night. First of all, Portland, for people that don't realize it, that are listening, Portland, when you drive into Portland, the first thing you see is people in black uniforms like military.
Well, President Trump last night on Laura Ingraham, and played this clip earlier, he said they caught some guys on an airplane trying to fly to D.C. that were Antifa to cause havoc at the RNC at the White House. I mean, there's some very dark figures behind this Antifa. They are very well organized and very well funded. And if that sounds like an Obama quote, it is.
And I had a picture sent to me, and it's not doctored. It's about 10 vehicles, 10 buses that have Black Lives Matter on them that transport these people all over the place. I mean,
well, what's happened here with the Black Lives Matter, in the early days, originally Black Lives Matter was a decent organization. It was formed after the Trayvon Martin murder by George Zimmerman. And it's been hijacked by a bunch of very angry white people that, it looks like Antifa to me, but, the whole cause has been hijacked. It's not about police violence. It's not about George Floyd. It's not about anything other than trying to collapse the American system.
Well, they call out Black Lives Matter probably maybe 20 times a night, and the rest of the time it's total. It's a disgrace to this country, and it's mostly, like I said, in Portland, it's all white. But then if you go to Washington D.C. is basically the same thing, and it's all black, and they hate Trump and they want Trump out, and nobody can convince me that they're not part of the Democratic Party. I forget about people that vote for Democrats because I believe most of them are not even of age to vote. I mean, they're
Well, I'll tell you this: when you see these people on Twitter, you know, because they communicate through Twitter. I saw one woman from Black Lives Matter, white woman. She was trying to stage some event at some building. This was over the weekend. They didn't have enough people, so she did a shout out on Twitter. We need bodies. We need bodies. There's a lot of mental illness going on here in this Generation Z and Millennial generation. These are not together. You know, the Vietnam War protest was mostly guys looking to get sex with easy high women that were giving it up. You know what I mean? But at least there was a draft going on, and there was an issue. Okay, I don't want to go fight in Vietnam. You know, I don't want to get drafted. What's the grievance here? There's no grievance.
Because they hate cops, they hate Trump, and they hate America. I'm telling you, when they look at the flag, you know what comes out of their mouth? That's a white man's racist flag. That they don't look at the flag the same way people in this country do. And I believe this is what they've been taught in school. I mean, they say they keep on shouting.
Yeah, I wonder what they've been doing in Common Core. I wonder if this has anything to do with that Common Core that the libs were pushing for so long.
I'm going to ask you, would it be wrong to give a website out for all the viewers to watch every?
All right, it never stopped you before. I don't know what it is. It's not porno, is it? It's not pornography.
It's P as in Peter, T News Network on YouTube, and he comes on like 9:30 every night, and he shows and he's a conservative. He's an ex-firefighter, but he shows what's going on.
Yeah, I hope when the president's in Kenosha, he goes by these burned out, demolished buildings and everything, that these... I liked yesterday in his press conference, he was calling these protesters Democrat... What was he calling them? Liberal... He didn't call them protesters. He had a...
He says
to CNN.
Yeah, was that CNN? Now the thing is with this Portland thing and all these other cities, and I mean it's a shock to me that it's probably 10 cities a night. There was a shooting in LA last night. They got on that cell in the beginning. It was in a black neighborhood. They shot a black man, police, and they had it all roped off. The first thing they did was get on their cell phones, and before.
Yeah, and the guy they shot had a gun. He had a pistol. The guy that the police shot in L.A. last night.
Yeah, they had a crowd of you. I guess you've been watching it.
Yeah, Richie, I'm in the business of news and information. I know what's going on. I may not, but I'm here till 9. I can't get through everything in the first 20 or 30 minutes, so what am I going to do for the next 90? I just can't rattle off everything that's going on in the news. I'm here till 9.
The American people. Yeah, you know that. This has been suppression from the American people. They do not want American people to see what's going on here. It's really...
Well, this new narrative they have that the violence in these liberal cities is Trump's fault, that he won't move in because they vote Democrat. That's a lie. I mean, he can't move in unless he's requested by the Democrat governor. And I'll tell you, some of these governors and mayors, like the mayor of Michigan, the governor of Michigan, I mean, what does she look sane when you see her in the eyes?
You're a wacko.
And I don't mean a wacko figuratively. I don't think she looks sane. And this mayor in Portland, this old soy boy in Portland, I really stick by what I said yesterday. I feel like that was a hostage video. There's a lot of... I saw today on Drudge Report that male chromosomes are weak now. Yeah, we got a bunch of pansy boys. I mean, I went to the liquor store to buy some beer a couple weeks ago. It was a weekend. I was like, oh, let me have a beer. I go to the liquor store. I could hardly find a Michelob or a Bud. They got all these craft beers and everything. I mean, what's up with... There really aren't real men today. These soy boy metrosexuals, they're not real men. They're not into normal things the guys in their teens and 20s are supposed to be into.
In a wheelchair, a disabled person that's an Antifa, and he's a big troublemaker, and he's at everything in Portland. Last night they arrested him in a wheelchair, and these people that they press on him, that are taking photos, they're going to post this like look what the police did.
Does he really need the wheelchair? Do you know? Is he truly confined to a wheelchair, or is he just using it? I don't know.
No, he's confined. He's a deformed little guy.
Yeah.
He's a nasty, the things that he says to these police officers, and they finally had enough, and they arrested him last night, and I'm sure that you're gonna see propaganda. And that's what it is. It's propaganda.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, appreciate the call, Richie. All right. Mike in Louisiana, how you doing?
Yeah, I saw that guy. I've been watching these things just like Richie. I've been watching them over the past few weeks, and I saw that guy in the wheelchair. No, he definitely needs it. He is one of these motorized wheelchairs, you know.
Okay.
And he got arrested, and one of the streamers got arrested last night.
So what did they do? Did they handcuff him to the wheelchair? How do you arrest a guy in a wheelchair? What do they do? Did you see it?
I know they handcuffed him. So, and I think they ended up pushing the wheelchair with him in it to wherever they needed him to go. You know, that type of thing.
Yeah.
And they handcuffed the streamer, and they took away her phone. And well, I'd say her phone, but I think the streamer is one of these.
Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate your comments.
Trans or whatever it is, people. So you don't really know what.
Let me tell you something. I went to the beach on Saturday, Deerfield Beach, and I've grown up going to the beach because I grew up here in South Florida. I grew up in Fort Lauderdale, so and I see the teenagers and the 20-something age guys on the beach. It's a different situation. They're not even interested in the girls. I'm down there. I saw girls that were like teens and 20s, all in the thong bikinis, all by themselves, looking to get picked up. And I see guys, these young guys, they're hanging out with other guys. You know what I mean? I mean, the soy boy, metrosexual, craft beer generation, they're just, they're pansies, I guess, is what we used to call it. I don't know, and I see these people when they get busted with their masks off from these protests around the country. What a bunch of wimpy, pasty white people. I mean, I'm white. I'm not as pasty as some of these guys, I guess, because I live in Florida. I got the Sunshine State here. But what a bunch of wimpy people. I saw this one girl the other day at one of the police stations in Portland who was in her Power Rangers uniform, you know how they're dressed, black Power Rangers, and she had like this umbrella that like Scarlett O'Hara would have, right? And she was prancing around in front of the police station. They're freaks. They kind of remind me of? They kind of remind me of the Road Warrior, the people and the characters in the Road Warrior. You know what I mean? The gang that was coming towards the fort, or maybe the people that lived in that town that Tina Turner had in Beyond Thunderdome. They're dressed like weirdos. It's so strange. And I love this exchange yesterday with this girl from CNN. Did you see Trump's press conference yesterday, Mike?
I saw a little bit.
Oh, did you? She said, "Your people." Let me play this clip. Hold on. Where is this at? The thing with the paintballs. Did you see the thing with the paintballs? Hold on. Let me see here. Okay, here it is. This is this girl from CNN. She's White House correspondent when Acosta's not around. Acosta better watch out. She's angling for his gig. She asked the president about the people with paintballs.
Just criticizing Joe Biden, saying he didn't mention the far left or Antifa during his speech today. You said you wanted to talk about left-wing political violence, but I noticed you did not mention that your supporters were also in Portland this weekend, firing paintball guns at people, some sort of pepper spray. So do you want to also take this chance to condemn what your supporters did?
Well, I understand they had large numbers of people that were supporters, but that was a peaceful protest. And paint is not, and paint is a defensive mechanism. Paint is not bullets.
Yeah, paint's not bullets. And earlier, McEnany, I don't know if it was ABC's Jonathan Karl or some other masked reporter, I don't know who it was, said, Do you or the president going to condemn the paintball? And McEnany says, we've been here for 90 days. They're shooting cops and children in the head, and you're asking me about a paintball fight? I love how they think that they got the paintballs. Well, I've been shot with paintballs. We used to do that for fun. BB wars and paintballs, and that's games.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, you've got these guys. I mean, pepper balls are a different thing, and that's why a lot of these guys carry the umbrellas. Is that the cops are gonna fire paintballs at us? Oh, we're gonna use the umbrellas to kind of
the umbrellas.
So, from the paintballs.
Oh my goodness.
Nicole Wallace, that she could stand a visit to Dr. Matez, but she's not the only one in the news media.
Most every woman on MSNBC is going through some stage of menopause. Nicole Wallace, Joy Reid, they all need Dr. Matez. Hormone replacement pellet therapy reverse the signs and symptoms of menopause. Nicole Wallace, Mika Brzezinski, Joy Reid.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, think about it this way. We're talking. I like the title of your show, but here's the deal with this whole thing. I once said I'd like to see him, the president, win with like 80% of the vote. Well, the way things are going, that could actually happen.
Oh, you're talking about the Red Mirage? The Red Mirage? It's going to look like Trump won, but really Biden won. Come on.
No, yeah. Who's going to vote for this guy? This guy don't know where he is half the time.
Oh, yeah. No. Yesterday he was on fire. Listen.
COVID has taken this year, just since the outbreak, has taken more than 100 years. Look, here's the lives. It's just...
I know. Think about it. I mean, what the hell is he talking about?
You look at his vice president. She's another one. That could probably stand a nice visit.
Well, the problem that he has, I mean, yesterday, do I look like a guy that's get Kamala Harris out there and condemn the riots? And I'll tell you another thing. Even though it may look like this on television, Biden took no questions yesterday. No questions. He got up there. It looked like a press conference, but it was him just talking. He did not take questions. All right, Mike in Louisiana, I got to run for a break. 37 minutes after the hour. I'm Brian Craig. Don't you go anywhere.
Hi, Brian Craig here. We've been telling you on the Steve Kane Show, for coronavirus testing, stop by any lab test now of Coral Springs and any lab test now of Boca. One of our longtime sponsors, Dr. Mitch Matez of the Boca Raton Center for Age Management, went to any lab test now of Boca for coronavirus testing this weekend, and he called in live on the radio to share his experience.
Listen, Brian, I have a great experience to tell you about. I went to any lab test now on Saturday to get COVID-19 tested. And it was awesome. We had a little experience where we had somebody in our close circle that tested positive after 10 days, by the way. Went and had a test. It took 10 days to get the results. We all went into a little bit of a panic, obviously. So we called up any lab test now. It was about maybe 11:30 in the morning on Saturday. They said, come on right on over. I was anonymous. I didn't announce myself. We went over there. We got there about noon. We checked in. 2 minutes later, they took us back, did our test. We sat in the waiting room for less than 15 minutes. They brought us back, gave us our results, which were negative, and we were on our way home. And a little shout out to Brittany, the nice young lady who did our test. It was completely painless. It was quick, it was simple, it was easy, and it gave you both the IgM and the IgG antibodies, which tells you if you have the infection now or if you've been exposed to it in the past.
Now, you went to any lab test now of Boca?
Boca Raton, yeah, in the Sandalfoot Plaza.
Awesome.
It was awesome. Well, it really was. It was cool. And it's easy, it's simple, and I'm telling you, that's the way to go. Forget this 10-day nonsense.
Doctor recommended. Can I say that in the commercial now? Doctor recommended. Any lab test now of Boca Raton.
There you go. Doctor recommended. Yeah, it was really kind of cool, and it was wonderful, and it was easy. And listen, to that end, go over and get tested. This is the test you want to get. It tells you point blank, did you have it, do you have it, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
That's great. So Dr. Mitch Matez personally recommending any lab test now of Boca.
You heard Dr. Mitch Matez. Any lab test now of Boca is doctor recommended for coronavirus testing. They're located in the Sandalfoot Plaza. That's where the Western Beef is, south of Palmetto Park Road and north of Hillsboro on the east side of 441.
Good morning, Dan Duncan.
561-237-5009. 561-237-5009. Any lab test now of Coral Springs is located on the southeast corner of University and Ramblewood over by the Coral Square Mall. Their number, 954-906-5983. Any lab test now of Boca and any lab test now of Coral Springs. Make sure you tell them you heard about them on The Steve Kane Show.
The Steve Kane Show is brought to you by Attorney Barry Siegel at the Siegel Law Group. Are you concerned with the distribution of your assets at the time of your passing? Avoid probate. Call the Siegel Law Group with 9 offices throughout South Florida, from Palm Beach Gardens to Coral Gables. Call toll-free 1-855-FLA-3782.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for double.
Yeah, and don't forget, for Steve Kane listeners and Steve Kane listeners only, any lab test now of Boca and Coral Springs, $69 COVID testing. $69 COVID testing. That's amazing. So you got to mention the Steve Kane Show to get that deal. The Daily Caller, President Donald Trump's approval rating is the highest it has ever been, according to the trend line YouGov has created, tracking the numbers throughout his presidency. That's right. The highest it has ever been. This sucks what's going on here. These evil Democrats. And I've been saying for a long, long time, the cable news is a poison on American society. The only reason I watch it, because if Steve wasn't obsessed with Fox News, I wouldn't watch any of that crap. I wouldn't watch any of it. The cable news, they want to tell you what to think, what to be concerned about, what issue's important, and it's brainwashing. But I was thinking yesterday how exciting the news can be these days. How interesting. I mean, a lot of terrible things going on, but it makes the news interesting. What would the news be like if Trump was not the president today? These people in news media are huge because Donald Trump's president. Do you think these cable news jerks like Nicole Wallace and Abilio Acosta, do you think they're going to vote for Trump? You know who I think's going to vote for Trump? You know who I think? Bill Maher. I think Bill Maher's going to vote for Trump. I tell you what, though, I'm disgusted by the Bush family. And I'm so, Jeb Bush, George W. Bush, disgusting people. Breitbart, former consultants for failed Republican presidential primary candidate Jeb Bush are now working with a never-Trump associated group to help Democrat Joe Biden and his running mate, Willie Brown's ex-girlfriend, ex-mistress Kamala Harris, win the swing state of Florida. The group called Republican Voters Against Trump. Who the hell are these people? The group Republican Voters Against Trump, funded by Never Trump's Bill Kristol, Sarah Longwell, and Tim Miller, is spearheading an initiative to flip Florida blue. The group has tapped former Bush consultants Mike Murphy and David Hill to help elect Joe Biden. The Miami Herald reports a group of Republicans who want to rid their party of President Trump is making a hefty investment to turn Florida blue. Yeah, that's just what we want. We want to rid our party of the winner. And oh my goodness. And they have help from one ex-Florida governor, Jeb Bush's former top political strategist. Officials with Republican Voters Against Trump, a national super PAC, said Monday they would begin a campaign aimed at persuading politically moderate Floridians to back Joe Biden, hopeful that the support of those voters can swing the battleground state and possibly the presidency towards the Democrat presidential candidate this fall. The former Bush consultants and Never Trump group have branded the effort Project Orange Crush. Oh, how clever. That just shows you the hate they have inside of them. Spending between $8 million to $10 million in the next couple of months on advertising targeted to moderate Republican voters and swing voters. Our plan is to surgically target the key 450,000 independents and soft Republicans who will decide this election. A memo obtained by the Miami Herald. Now keep in mind, Jeb Bush lives in Miami. He's a Miami guy, Jeb Bush. So this stuff that the Miami Herald was obtained, and Jeb and his people gave this to the Herald. It was obtained. It was uncovered. The former Bush consultants involved in helping to elect Biden comes as hundreds of former staffers for Snake Mitt Romney. I like people that don't get captured, John McCain, and a man that the left wanted tried for war crimes in The Hague, George W. Bush, have signed on to initiatives to defeat Trump in the November 3rd election. Also involved are former Department of Homeland Security officials Miles Taylor and Elizabeth Newman, who both worked for Homeland Security and the Trump administration. Well, I guess they were hangovers. Breitbart News first named the two officials as opponents of President Trump. The Republican establishment, based almost exclusively in Washington, D.C., and made up of consultants, donors, political operatives, and Major League well, you know what the rest of that is, have been opposed to Trump's economic nationalist agenda since the 2015 GOP presidential primary, when they unsuccessfully attempted to stop him. When Trump completes his second term, we have got to be very careful in the future to not support these never-Trumpers. After the president's second term is completed, there'll be a move. It may take a couple of election cycles, but the never-Trumpers, they're going to be back. And we've got to make sure that we never vote for anyone ever who's been connected to the Bush family. What a bunch of creeps. And by the way, that goes for the father. I was, this book didn't get much publicity. I talked about it a lot. Barbara Bush, First Lady Barbara Bush, Jeb's mom, George W. Bush's mom, and the wife of H.W., wrote a book that she had published after her death, and she talked about what a lowlife H.W. was. He had a mistress that he met when he was ambassador to China that he had in the White House. I'm shocked to learn that he had a mistress in the White House when he was out there. No wonder Bill Clinton was carrying on. George Bush did it. Why not Bill Clinton, right? And they're creeps. And you look at how their minions act on television. Dana Perino couldn't suck up to Jill Biden enough when she interviewed her. Nicole Wallace, who worked for McCain, well, you see she's just, she's always pissed off. She calls herself a Republican in exile. She'll return to the party when Trump is no longer leading it. See, these Republican establishment people have their little private club, and we're just pawns in the matrix. And we're not supposed to vote for people. It's like, like I was saying a minute ago, the cable news tell you what to think, who to support, who to hate. That's what the news does. Well, the political parties choose the candidates and tell you who to vote for and who not to vote for. And they lost out with Trump because, well, we didn't listen to them that time, and they're punishing us for it. And after his second term, the Republican establishment will make a major move to come back. And, there's this new wave of Trumplicans, people like Florida Governor Ron DeSantis and others who have come up under Trump. These are the people we've got to support. You got to be very careful. These never-Trumpers are snakes. Do you know that you have an opportunity at a very bargain basement price to sleep on the same pillow that President Trump sleeps on? That's right, a MyPillow. If you go to MyPillow.com, use the promo code KANE, K-A-N-E, at checkout. Buy one MyPillow, get a second one free. That's right, the BOGO offer. Buy one MyPillow, get the second MyPillow for free at MyPillow.com. This is the pillow that the president sleeps on in the White House. He told Mike Lindell this. He gets a good night's sleep on it, he said. It's also on Air Force One, I understand. That's absolutely amazing. Go to MyPillow.com, use the promo code KANE, K-A-N-E, at checkout. Buy one MyPillow, get a second one for free. We'll be right back.
In Florida, every day is a great day to grill. Ace Hardware Deerfield and Beach Ace Hardware are giving away a brand new grill to a Steve Kane Show listener. All you do is go to the store and enter. This is a propane grill valued at almost $400. Can't use propane? No problem. Ace will give you an electric grill instead. The choice is yours. Ace Hardware will assemble the grill for you and deliver it to your home, all for free. This is their way of thanking all the Steve Kane listeners for their support. No purchase is necessary. Just go on in and enter. Ace Hardware Deerfield is located just south of Hillsborough on the west side of US 1, 365 South Federal Highway, Deerfield Beach. Beach Ace Hardware is at 232 Commercial Boulevard, Lauderdale by the Sea.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware.
Oh, you're early. Caught me off guard.
Seniors, Medicare open enrollment is quickly approaching. Call I Will Advisors for a free review of your existing healthcare policy and learn about all of your Medicare options. Call Debbie at 954-753-8080. 954-753-8080.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for WW.
All right, welcome back, everyone. 10 minutes before 7 o'clock in the morning. My name is Brian Craig. You are listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, the Steve Kane Show. A lot of people ask me. They ask me this all the time, and I always give them the same answer. The answer is yes. And what they ask me is the Steve Kane Trump 2020 Victory Cruise still on? Yes! December 6th on the Celebrity Edge, the most modern, advanced, and luxurious cruise ship on America, in the world's oceans, actually, the Celebrity Edge. Absolutely an incredible cruise ship. If you go to SteveKaneShow.com, you can look at the tour that I took of this beautiful cruise ship. And you are all invited, and on the line from Cruise and Travel Depot, the man who organizes our incredible cruises, Ian. Hey, Ian.
Hey, good morning. What an intro.
Yeah, you caught me off guard. This is early. I don't know if we've ever had you on the air this early before.
Luckily, my kids are back at school, and I'm up even earlier.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. I know how that goes. Well, so listen. We've been putting the final touches on our Steve Kane Trump 2020 Victory Cruise, and we leave December 6th for a week out of Fort Lauderdale on the Celebrity Edge, and obviously cruises aren't going right now. When is cruising opening up again? What's the
for Royal Caribbean brands and all the brands that are part of their corporate umbrella, which includes Celebrity? Sailing resumes on November 1st.
Oh, that's awesome. So that's more than a month before our trip.
Exactly.
Yeah, Celebrity is part of Royal Caribbean. For those that now this ship is absolutely amazing. The Celebrity Edge. We took this tour. There's an incredible video of our tour on my YouTube channel and at SteveKaneShow.com. But can you tell people a little bit about this ship?
So the Celebrity Edge, as you said before, is the most technologically advanced cruise ship on the ocean. It was designed to be that way by Celebrity Corporate. Usually they're always trying to take one step in front of each other, trying to outdo each other, and they're reaching to this, Princess did that. But what Celebrity really did was they took 2 steps ahead and wanted to make something really innovative, bringing world-class architects to design really just unique and interesting spaces. And the ship has some really different elements that you're just not going to find anywhere else.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. My first cruise I took was 1989 out of Miami on a ship called the Emerald Seas. So I've been on most of the cruise lines. I've been on so many. I had a good buddy of mine back in my single days who worked for Norwegian Cruise Lines, and we used to take cruises all over the place and everything because I just had to pay. So I've been on a lot of cruises. And when I walked on board the Celebrity Edge, I've never seen anything like it. I mean, those of you that are joining us, you're going to have an incredible time. Now, this is our Trump 2020 Victory Cruise. We've got a great group of people, Trump supporters, Trump lovers all, and we're just going to be partying like crazy and just having a good time together. We have dinner together every night. We have activities planned on board the ship throughout the days that we're at sea. Ian and I this week are going to start working on some shore excursions. Where are we stopping? We leave out of Fort Lauderdale on December 6th, and we go to San Juan, Puerto Rico, and I know we're going to have an excursion there that involves pina coladas at some point. But what are rum? You got to have rum when you're in Puerto Rico. What are our other stops?
Our other stops are Tortola in the British Virgin Islands. And now that's a very new stop for Celebrity Cruise Lines. It's a really interesting place, and it's a really high-end island. A lot of people who are in the boating world and the yachting world know about it. It's a really, I would call it very much a high-end island. It's really pretty. I actually rented a car and drove all over the island.
Wow.
And was really impressed. I mean, amazing beaches, friendly people, British territory.
Yeah, okay, and then what's our third and final stop?
St. Martin. And St. Martin is really a great place to kick back. You have the Dutch side and the French side. We're pulling into Philipsburg, which is on the Dutch side. Great duty-free shopping. That's where I do a lot of my bottle shopping. Yeah,
and this is just going to be a great time. And we've got this great cruise family that grows and grows each and every cruise we do. And is this our fourth cruise?
This is our fourth cruise.
Oh my goodness, the fourth Steve Kane cruise. It's December 6th. Now, we'll have more details on this as we get closer, but obviously, without question, one thing about Celebrity that I like, there's a lot of things I love about Celebrity, but the number of passengers on a Celebrity ship is about half the number of the other cruise lines for ships of the size. And I know because of everything that's going on in the world, they're going to have a reduced capacity of passengers on this cruise. There's going to be far fewer passengers on the Celebrity Edge than normally would be there. I'm assuming, Ian.
And that's what corporate is telling me. The capacity of the ship is normally around 2,850 passengers, and they're going to sail with a lot less capacity, just like Disney's been doing up at Disney World. I'm actually still holding cabins at our group rate, and Celebrity's been screaming at me to release some of them, because if they're only selling half the inventory, those rooms have become scarcer and scarcer. So anyone who's still on the fence, I can still do cabins.
Yeah, and the capacity of the ship is going to be greatly reduced from what it normally is, which means we're going to have the ship almost pretty much to ourselves and our group, and we got a lot of great activities. Listen, call Ian at Cruise and Travel Depot. Obviously, cruising prices have been dramatically reduced because of global events, but we get an extra special rate in our Steve Kane group. Call Ian at Cruise and Travel Depot. Join us. You will not regret it. And go to SteveKaneShow.com. Look at there's 2 videos up there you should look at. Look at the tour of the Edge, which will blow your mind. And also look at the video of our cruise from last year that we took on the Celebrity Silhouette, and you'll get an idea of how much fun and what a great time we have on these cruises. Give Ian at Cruise and Travel Depot a call. His number, 561-244-5779. 561-244-5779. All righty, and you and I will talk later this week. We got to start planning our shore excursions. I don't know. Last year was a great time. We had a great time. That trip we took to the Blue Lagoon and all that, and the Mayan ruins. That was one of the most fun days I've ever had in my life with my daughter. My daughter and I had so much fun that day with all the listeners. That was a great time.
It's really fun.
Oh yeah, we were out there kayaking and everything, and it was pretty good. It was a pretty good time. All right, Ian, take care. Oh yes, that's right. All right, take care. So guys, give him a call, and we really have a great time, and we got a really good group of people going on this one. I've talked to some of you that I have not met before that are traveling on this one. It's going to be a great time, and of course Steve will be there, and I'm bringing my daughter, who came with me on the last cruise, and I'm really, and it is literally a month after Trump's re-election, so we'll be. I know, isn't that great? All right, now listen, we're coming up on the top of the hour break. the president is going to Kenosha, Wisconsin today, and what they're pulling in Kenosha is outrageous. It's outrageous, people. We're going to talk about all this and a whole bunch more. Your calls are welcome. 1-888-GO-KANE-1. 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. It's Tuesday morning, September the 1st, 7 o'clock in the morning. Hour number 2 begins right now.
95.3 FM, 96.9 FM, 103.9 FM, and AM 1470. WWNN Pompano Beach is the Florida Money Talk Network.
Seniors, Medicare open enrollment is quickly approaching. Make sure you get the right coverage. Call Debbie at I Will Advisors, 954-753-8080, 954-753-8080.
If you suffer with diabetes, did you know there's a 25% chance that you will develop a foot ulcer at some point in your life? And foot ulcers, when you have diabetes, can lead to severe health consequences up to and including amputation. Now, Medicare recognizes the importance of preventative foot care and has provided coverage for those of you who are at-risk patients. I want to introduce you to my good friends at the Soul Authority. At the Soul Authority, at little or no cost.
Yeah, Treasure Life, you're right on the money. I'm reading the chat now.
Therapeutic shoes made specially for diabetics. You're probably not aware, but as a diabetic Medicare recipient, you are entitled to one pair of high-quality.
On the ship, it's going to be half the number of passengers. I found out. Ian doesn't want to say that, but I found it's going to be half the number of passengers allowed this time around.
It'll provide you with the extra width and extra depth to stop diabetic.
And Sarah will tell you how few people are on these ships.
Oftentimes, amputation due to diabetes is preventable, and one of the preventable measures that is most effective is wearing the proper shoes.
Hey, Orlando. I might be in Orlando this week. I might go to Disney World this weekend. Got to see what the weather's going to be like.
Or online at thesoulauthority.com. That's THE.
I don't like driving up to Orlando in the rain.
Tell them Steve Kane sent you.
In Florida, every day is a great day to grill. Ace Hardware Deerfield and Beach Ace Hardware are giving away a brand new grill to a Steve Kane Show
you should come,
listener.
Michael.
All you do is go to the store and enter. This is a propane grill valued at almost $400. Can't use propane? No problem. Ace will give you an
drinks
electric
are
grill
included.
Instead. The choice is yours.
All kinds
Ace
of
Hardware
benefits.
will assemble the grill for you and deliver it to your home, all for free. This is their way of thanking all
I can't
Steve
promise
Kane
help,
listeners for their
Matthew.
support. No purchase is necessary. Just go on in and enter. Ace Hardware Deerfield is located just south of Hillsborough on the west side of US 1, 365 South Federal Highway, Deerfield Beach. Beach Ace Hardware is at 232 Commercial Boulevard, Lauderdale by the Sea.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
The Steve Kane Show is brought to you by attorney Barry Siegel at the Siegel Law Group. Are you concerned with the distribution of your assets at the time of your passing? Avoid probate. Call the Siegel Law Group with 9 offices throughout South Florida, from Palm Beach.
Oh, no doubt about that, Treasure Life. I'm looking for. I need a vacation so bad.
855 FLA 3782.
Oh, there's no worries about Biden winning. It ain't gonna happen.
You are listening to South Florida's longest
I don't know.
radio show.
I'm not a doctor,
the
Matthew.
Steve Kane Show. To call the show toll free, dial 1-888-GO.
That's right. All right, welcome back. Hour number 2 has begun 3 minutes after 7 o'clock in the morning. It's Tuesday, September 1st, 2020. If you are just tuning in, you've missed a heck of a lot. I'm here to tell you. The Democrats are setting the stage for their defeat. They're talking about, we're talking about the red tsunami. The Democrats are talking about the red mirage. This is something new. A Democrat data firm that's funded by Bloomberg, and Bloomberg hates Trump because, he's richer than Trump and Trump makes fun of his height, They're saying that on election night it may look as if, this is the red mirage, it may look as if President Trump has won re-election, But the reality days later will be that Biden won. That's the red mirage that's coming. Yeah, so this is, this is what they do. Now, the president is going to Kenosha, and they've been pushing hard for him to meet the family of Jacob Blake, the media. And you know why they've been pushing this Trump meeting the family of Jacob Blake so much? You know why they've been pushing that? Because they want him to be snubbed. They want Jacob Blake's family to be able to tell him where to stick it and not show up or go and yell at him or do something. And he's not going to do it. And President Trump told a very interesting story yesterday. He said he called them up and they wanted to put the lawyers on the phone with them, which would be Crump. And he said that was inappropriate, so I didn't talk to them. What the hell was that about? Oh, but he didn't speak to the family. No, they wanted Crump to talk to him. I guess it would elevate Benjamin Crump. And Jacob Blake's father, who I don't think has ever missed a meal. Yeah. Jacob Blake's father said he doesn't want to talk to Trump. He has already talked to President Biden. He's already talked to President Biden. Listen, I'm not going to criticize a parent that has lost a child. I'm not going to criticize them, at least not too much, but we can talk. We got to talk about it. And when it comes to family, when incidents happen where somebody becomes news, we saw this with the 9/11 families. Families are pretty big, and everyone's got an opinion. And when these big events happen, sometimes family members become activists. Remember the 9/11 families became left-wing activists during the 9/11 hearings? Remember that they were a group? And Jacob Blake's father, he is becoming a major league activist, and he's very vocal. And I don't know anything about him. I'm not going to be too critical of him right now because he did lose his son. So I don't want to give the guy too hard of a time. But the way he's acting like a Democrat activist, not like a man who. You know how a man reacts who's lost their son? You know who the textbook model of a man who's lost their son is? John Walsh. John Walsh. John Walsh, his son's kidnapping and murder here in Florida, I mean, I'm about the same age of Adam Walsh that he would be today. He and I were about the same age, and I didn't even live in Florida at the time. I still lived in Ohio, and I remember, I think a lot, parents my age are very protective of their children, and it's about Adam. Look what John Walsh did. John Walsh took this terrible, god-awful murder of his child, got that missing persons database going, had this incredible show, America's Got Wanted. How many bad guys were put in prison because of John Walsh? And he was an advocate. He went to Congress and testified and got things done. But he didn't act like this. See, the way that the father of Jacob Blake is reacting is not to get anything done, right? John Walsh met with people in government and he spoke to Congress. He said he wanted something done. He wanted a missing child's database. He was shocked that there wasn't such a database already when Adam Walsh went missing. That's how it began. He didn't go to microphones and refuse to speak to presidents. I only talk to people that got D's next to their name. Well, they're not in power right now. Okay, if you really want to get something done, you've got to talk to the person who is in power and find out what happened. Let's find out what happened. But Jacob Blake's father doesn't seem to be, like John Walsh, doesn't seem to be interested in a solution. He's interested in, activism. Not actually getting something done. Activism is a business. You know, it's a business. People make very good money as activists. They don't want people that are activists don't want things solved. If things get solved, their activism business is out of business. They don't want any of these things solved. Good morning. You're on the radio.
Hey, it's Mike and Boca.
Mike and Boca. What's going on?
Jacob's family. What's his name? Blake Jacob. Jacob Blake.
Jacob Blake. Yeah.
His mother was very pro. Last week she was on Don Lemon with the husband.
Don Lemon, not Lemon. His name's not Don Lemon. It's Don Lemon. Don Lemon. Where'd you get that at?
His mother was very adamant that she apologized to the president last week on Don Lemon's show.
Yeah, well, I'm not seeing her too much. I'm seeing the father.
Last week, last week she was on Don Lemon, and they both were on, and he kept quiet. He didn't say anything, and she's like, the president did try to call me, but we were not home to receive the call, and she said she apologized to the president because someone in her family was saying negative things about the president, and she said, they need to stop this violence, because not for my son, because she knows her son better than anybody.
Well, I don't know. I did see that. That was live during the press conference that the mother was at last week too. But President Trump gave us some information about that. He called them, and then they wanted to put the lawyers on the line, which I would imagine would have been Benjamin Crump. And that's not what it's about when the president calls.
I lost all respect for Crump. The night I found about this, it was because of his tweet. After that, I like the guy. I thought he was a pretty good lawyer. I think he was a smart guy. He was on Emmy a lot. But when he did this is like Al Sharpton, Jesse Jackson stuff.
Well, a lot of people have given me a hard time about this, but I believe George Zimmerman should be in prison for the murder of Trayvon Martin. And I know that that's not the stereotypical conservative position. And Benjamin Crump was a part of that and helped get some sense of the system going, although Zimmerman sadly was acquitted because they overcharge him and things like this. But Benjamin Crump, anytime there's a racial incident, I mean, he's faster than Jesse Jackson used to be. He's on the scene like that. He's kind of like Gloria Allred. Every time there's a woman who makes any claim against any rich or celebrity man, Gloria Allred is right there.
And you were talking about Bush before. It's funny you mentioned the Bush because last night I was on YouTube and I watched the 2016 CNN debate where he pretty much destroyed Jeb. It was great. It was great. It's great television.
Steve and I used to be friends with Jeb. And I was, Jeb is not the same person he used to be. Before he was governor, he was a much different person. And I don't know what happened to him ego-wise, but he's not... Like, first time I met him was the first time he ran for governor when he lost. And then we used to have him on a lot on the show, in studio, when he was running for governor the second time when he won. And he was a very good governor. But he's changed, and I think what's happened to Jeb is he lived in this house with President Bush and President Bush, right, in this family, and I think he's got a lot of issues about that, right? Remember what HW and GW called each other, 41 and 43, and then there's Jeb, and I think he's got a lot of issues that's manifested in him compensating, and he really was, when I saw him in those debates in 2016, he wasn't the same person that I used to know. And now to have his people working with Biden, it's disgusting.
Jeb is like the odd man out. He just never fit.
Well, Steve really embarrassed me with Jeb Bush. This was off the air. And this was like 1998, and I used to be a Democrat, and I wasn't voting for Jeb. I wasn't voting for Jeb. But I didn't tell that to Jeb when I was talking to him. I was interested in meeting him, And Steve says, "Oh, Brian's not voting for you." I was so embarrassed. And Jeb, this was before he was governor. It was in the '98 race. Jeb took me out of the studio after the show was over, because this was during a commercial break, and he talked to me in the hallway for a long time. He said, "Why are you not voting for me?" And I don't remember what I said, but I gave him some stupid liberal crap, I'm sure. And he actually, it was just me and Jeb and this guy that worked for Jeb, and went through this long explanation with me about how wrong I was. I was so impressed by him, but he's not the same person today.
Kind of a personal question. 2000, when you went to vote, did you vote for Bush or did you vote for?
Oh yeah, no, I voted for Bush in 2000. Absolutely, I voted for Bush in 2000. Hell yeah, that was yeah.
I did not. I voted for Ozone Man, but that's just the way.
Ozone Man, Ralph Nader. Oh, then you voted for Bush then. The Ralph Nader, over 80,000 Floridians voted for Ralph Nader. That's why Bush won in 2000.
You voted for Al Gore. I voted for Al Gore.
I remember we were talking about. I remember one day we were talking about what would 9/11 have been like if Al Gore had been president. Could you imagine? I know. He might have been upset at the environmental impact. Speaking of environmental impact, I saw, Biden. He left a basement and he flew off to some event. I guess it was in Pennsylvania yesterday. And he flew on a private jet. What's the carbon footprint for that? Don't they have commercial jets that run from Delaware to Pennsylvania? Why did he have to fly on a private jet?
I think it might have had a Tesla engine in it, electric or something. I don't know.
I doubt that. And he boarded the jet wearing a mask, walking by himself. And then when he got to Pennsylvania, there was a very funny thing happened. Let me play this. Hold on. Let me find this. Hold on here. Let me find this thing. Okay, appreciate the call. Let me see. Where is this clip? I know I got this clip. Oh yes, here it is. So Biden gets to Pennsylvania yesterday, and there's about a dozen people waiting for him. He gets out of the limo, and there's a Trump guy that yells at Biden. Listen.
Hey Joe, you finally got out of the basement.
Can you hear that? He says, "Hey Joe, you finally got out of the basement."
Hey Joe, you finally got out of the basement. Hey Joe,
Yeah, he had 12 people out there, and one of them was a protest, but I like that. Hey, Joe, you finally got out of the basement.
You finally got out of the basement.
Come on, man. All right, let's take our first break of the second hour, all right? 17 minutes after the hour. My name's Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest-running radio show on the radio since 1977. We'll be right back.
This is Steve Kane, and I wanted to share with you some thoughts about why I chose the Gardens of Boca Raton to be my final resting place. I have always been uncomfortable with thoughts of death and dying, but the very first time that I visited the Gardens of Boca Raton, I could feel my apprehensions vanish. Just knowing that I'd be spending eternity with my family in such magnificent surroundings lifted my spirits. The Gardens of Boca Raton is an all-faith, above-ground cemetery with tranquil surroundings, a place where your loved ones can come and visit you time and time again, remembering and celebrating your life. The gardens have caring professionals available to help you in your time of need 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Pre-need with 0% financing is available and prevents your family from having to deal with these matters at the time of their grief and sorrow. The Gardens of Boca Raton, dedicated to all those who have lived and all those who live today. Let the Gardens take care of your family as they are taking care of my
Lisa.
family. Schedule a tour today. Call 877-PLAN-561 or online at thegardens.com. Tell them Steve Kane sent you.
Seniors, Medicare open enrollment is coming. I Will Advisors has all the education you need to make an informed decision about your plan for you and your family. I Will Advisors specializes in every aspect of Medicare and what options are most likely to help or hurt you. And that way you can get a plan that fits your lifestyle and needs at an affordable rate. Call Debbie at 954-753-8080. 954-753-8080.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio.
Hey guys, welcome back. You know, just a couple weeks back when I got my Explorer back from Champaign Automotive Repair, I went over to Friendly Tire, bought 4 brand new tires for my Ford Explorer. The lowest price I could find around town, $175 a tire. Friendly Mike's price at Friendly Tire, just $75 a tire. Brand new tires, outdoor and on the road. Remember, Friendly Tire never charges you to mount the tire, balance the tire, no other hidden fees. The price is the price. $100 savings per tire, brand new tires. I was over there on Friday talking to Mike, and one of our listeners came in a Porsche Cayenne, got an incredible deal. So no matter what you drive, you can have a 17-year-old car like mine with 180,000 plus miles on it, or you can have a Porsche Cayenne and get incredible deals on new tires out the door and on the road at Friendly Tire. They have thousands of used tires in stock too, starting at just $30 for most sizes. Friendly Tire is in Margate. The number and address is listed at stevekaneshow.com. The address is 5415 Northwest 15th Street in Margate. 15th Street, just a little north of Atlantic on the east side of 441. Give Friendly Tire a call, 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445. He'll give you a quote right over the phone. All right, now this President Trump was on with Laura Ingraham last night. Oh my goodness. And he revealed something that this was new, and I believe classified information that he just declassified. You know, the president can declassify anything. That's part of his he can declassify Area 51 just by uttering it. That's one of the powers of the presidency. But he revealed something to Laura Ingraham last night that is an ongoing operation, and this was huge news. Listen to this. Donald Trump last night with Laura Ingraham.
I think is pulling Biden's strings. Is it former Obama
people
officials?
That you've never heard of, people that are in the dark shadows, people that...
What does that mean? That sounds like conspiracy theory. Dark shadows.
No,
What is that?
people that you haven't heard of. They're people that are on the streets. They're people that are controlling the streets. We had somebody get on a plane from a city this weekend, and in the plane it was almost completely loaded with thugs wearing these dark uniforms, black uniforms with gear and this and that. They're on a plane.
Where's this?
I'll tell you sometime, but it's under investigation right now. But they came from a certain city, and this person was coming to the Republican National Convention, and there were like 7 people on the plane like this person, and then a lot of people were on the plane to do big damage. They were coming
Planning for
reason.
Washington.
Yeah, this is all happening.
But the money is coming from somewhere.
Money is coming
How can it be
from
tracked?
some very stupid rich people that have no idea that if their thing ever succeeded, which it won't, they will be thrown to the wolves like you've never seen before.
Wow. I mean, that was so who were these people? I'd like to know if the people on the plane were flying coach or first class too, wearing all black. I wouldn't be surprised if they were flying first class, but at least that gives me some hope that this thuggish mob around the country that's causing all this havoc and traveling around and being funded, that Trump and the government are on top of it because he knows about that, and he shared that, and that was not an accident that he shared that, and that was breaking news. And I know they're not focusing in on that too much when they play highlights from that Laura Ingraham interview, although I have heard them replay that on Fox early this morning when I was watching Fox getting ready for work. But that was probably the most important takeaway from the interview last night with Laura Ingraham. And, you know, you're not going to hear any follow-up from that in the McEnany press conference today because the media do not want you to know about it. You know, what is going on in this country right now with a lot of the social justice warriors is scary. And I saw this clip online, and it involves a Catholic priest, a Roman Catholic priest in New York City, and this clip is from a mass. And I got this clip, and I thought, I'm Catholic. I thought about not playing it because I don't want to be critical of a priest. I don't want to be critical of the church. But then I thought about it, and I thought this had to be heard. And if you're not Catholic, you may not know exactly how a mass works. But what a mass is all about, it's about the Holy Communion, okay? And where the priest is the table. Guys, those of you that are Catholic know all about it. It's a big deal. And it's not a place for politics. I have been in Mass when politics have been brought up, but never by the priest himself. I was in Mass once, and before Mass began, they brought in the very well-known priest from Priest for Life. He was friends with Norma McCorvey, the Row woman. I'd forgotten her name. We've had him on the show a couple times. But it wasn't a part of the Mass, and he wasn't conducting Mass. It was separate and apart from the Mass. This priest in New York City, churches are pretty liberal. There was was it Kenosha or Portland? Over the weekend, there was a truck found, a moving truck, like a box truck, filled with supplies for Antifa. It wasn't weapons, it was like food and soda, things like this. Probably juice boxes, these children. And it was busted, and the law enforcement stopped it. And it was funded and supplied by a church. And churches in this country, people think churches are right-wing. There's a big divide among the churches, including among the denominations. Most denominations, like Methodist and Baptist, there's a conservative wing and a liberal wing of the churches. A Catholic Church is not a denomination like Methodist is a denomination, or Baptist or Southern Baptist. Catholicism is not a denomination. It is Christianity. But forgetting about that, there's a divide inside the Catholic Church that I experience. There's very liberal priests, and there's conservative priests. And the conservative priests don't talk about politics. The liberal priest, well, that's a whole nother deal. So I was really reluctant to play this because like the Pope is pretty left wing, and he spouts off about liberal things, and I don't really want to criticize the Pope either. But this is scary. This is a priest. It's during Mass. It's in New York City this week.
Do you support racial justice, equity, and compassion in human relations?
You hear this? Now, this is a prayer. A lot of what happens in Mass, the priests go up, they do a prayer, and then there's the response. All right? And everyone gives the response in unison. Okay? This is nuts. I mean, I've never heard of such a thing.
Do you support racial justice, equity, and compassion in human relations? Yes. Do you affirm that white privilege is unfair and harmful to those who have it and to those who do not? Yes. Do you affirm that white privilege and the culture of white supremacy must be dismantled wherever it is present? Yes. Do you support racial equity, justice, and liberation for every person? Yes. Do you affirm the inherent worth and dignity of every person? Yes. Therefore, from this day forward, will you strive to understand more deeply the injustice and suffering white privilege and white supremacy cause? Yes. Will you commit to help transform our church culture to one that is actively engaged in seeking racial justice and equity for everyone? Yes. Will you make a greater effort to treat all people with the same respect you expect to receive? Yes. Will you commit to developing the courage to your beliefs and values of racial justice and equality? Yes. Will you strive to eliminate racial prejudice from your thoughts and actions so that you can better promote the racial justice efforts of our church? Yes. Will you renew and honor this pledge daily, knowing that our church and our community, our nation, and our world will be better places because of our efforts? Yes. Let us pray.
Okay, yeah, so that's Catholic Mass, New York City, a prayer to racial justice, and this is to be done daily. I hope this clip circulates enough for Cardinal Dolan to be forced to respond and get this guy away from the church. This guy, oh my goodness. I'd be out of there. I would never return to Mass at that church ever again. If I was in Mass and I saw that. I was surprised that there was actually a Mass in New York City with everything that's going on, but that's pretty rough. That's pretty rough. All right, listen, we're going to take our break. It's 7:30 in the morning. You are listening to the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest-running radio show, on the radio since 1977. My name is Brian Craig. Steve Kane will be joining us in just a bit. Our number toll-free, 1-888-GO-KANE 1-888-465-2631. We'll be back right after this.
Florida, every day is a great day to...
Okay, you ready? Yeah, I can hear you. Okay, I got you now. Okay. Okay.
Side of US 1, 365 South Federal Highway, Deerfield Beach. Beach Ace Hardware is at 232 Commercial Boulevard, Lauderdale by the Sea.
Ace is the place for the helpful hardware, folks.
95.3 FM, 96.9 FM, 103.9 FM, and AM 1470. WWNN Pompano Beach is the Florida Money Talk Network.
This is Steve Kane for attorney Barry Siegel. Barry did a great job for me and my family when we needed a revocable living trust. Listen to one of our listeners, Ray, talk about his experience with Barry Siegel.
I want to praise Barry Siegel. And one of the most important things about sponsors is integrity. You have to know that you're dealing with an honest person. I had to go up to Myrtle Beach for my sister because her husband died, and I was helping her out. She had a trust and everything. She had not revised this trust since 1997. And you know, Barry says every 3 years at least you gotta. I called Barry's office because I had a question. I let the secretary know. I said, look, I'm calling from South Carolina. I know the laws are different, and I'm just asking for information for my sister. Now, you know, most people would just blow you off, right? Yeah. You know, almost immediately, within a few minutes, Barry himself called me. I asked my questions and so on. Integrity. These are the most important things with sponsors, and all of your sponsors, because I've dealt with a lot of them.
Welcome, everyone. If you're new here, please subscribe. Coming back.
Do what Ray did. Call attorney Barry Siegel right now. Toll free 1-855-FLA.
And also make sure you like and share the video if you don't mind.
That's 1-855.
If you're new here, this is the most pro-Donald Trump radio show in the world. Here we go. All right, 32 minutes after the hour. I'm Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Radio Show. I was just reading here. NFL helmets will feature the names of victims of police violence and systematic racism this season. Now, police violence, we know what that is, but systematic racism is a little vague. I'm not exactly sure. Does anybody have an example of a victim of systematic racism? Very strange. And Ryan Tannehill. Did you see this thing with Ryan Tannehill? Ryan Tannehill. Oh, yeah, Tannehill. He got, Steve, by the way, Steve Kane joining us. I'm sorry I forgot the grand introduction. Steve Kane with us here from the Steve Kane Cooper City radio studio. People ask where that studio is. Just look above for the high radio tower and follow that. And you know. Yeah, so Ryan Tannehill was in the locker room with his teammates, and one of the black teammates went on this long-winded thing about systematic racism and blah, blah, blah. And then Tannehill came in, and this is something they recorded to put out there to the public. This is Ryan Tannehill.
These systematic oppressions have been going on for a long time. Hundreds of years, this country was founded upon racist ideas. With slaves being brought here from the day of foundation. And those ideas have persisted throughout the last hundreds of years, and it's going to take time until we can get those all out. But we're tired of it. We're tired of dealing with...
Is he tired of it enough to give up his spot? He plays for the Tennessee Titans, I think, and he give his spot to a quarterback of color. Does he care that much?
Systematic oppression. We're tired of dealing with excessive force. We're tired of seeing black men and women die in situations where they should be walking home.
Yeah. So this Jacob Blake, I guess when you digitally sexually assault a woman, Tannehill thinks you should be able to walk home from that. I talked about I talked about it yesterday. Yeah, that Jacob Blake had assaulted this woman sexually with his fingers on multiple occasions, and she's the one who called the police on him, and that's what they were responding to. Mm-hmm.
Actually, and then he stole her car without permission.
Well, I guess after he, why ask permission for that after you've done the other thing?
And then when, after that, she called the police, and they put out an all-points bulletin for him, and the rest is history.
Well, Tannehill says that's systematic racism, I guess, and he's tired of it.
Tired of all this nonsense. These people better be very careful in these various sports, some worse than others. They're going to just destroy their careers. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Well, sports is a habit, I think. I know there's a lot of people that are sports fanatics, but for most people that watch football or basketball, it's a habit. And once that habit is broken, they're not likely to go back to it too easily. They'll find something else to fill the habit void with, and they're turning so many people against sports. Now, I started the show with this. I want to go back to it. The left are foreshadowing an attempted coup after Trump's victory. We've been talking about the red tsunami. Mike Bloomberg has this liberal data collection firm that gave an interview to HBO's Axios, and they're talking about the red mirage, which I heard for the first time at about 4:30 this morning. I was going through the news, and this just really shocked me. The red mirage. And let me play you, this is just a clip from the upcoming interview, and then I'll expand on it. This is, they're talking about the red mirage here.
A mirage, by definition, is something that appears to be there, but that doesn't really exist. And you have a model scenario called the red mirage. What does that mean?
The reason we talk about a red mirage is, in fact, because we believe that on election night, we are going to see Donald Trump in a stronger position than the reality actually is.
Okay, now that's just a clip that they released to preview the interview, and there was an extensive article that I read with someone that had seen the interview. So what they're saying is, these liberals, the red mirage is this. Donald Trump's going to appear to have had a landslide victory on election night. But days later, when the mail-in votes start to be counted, you will see that he did not have a landslide victory, that Biden actually won. That's what they're calling the red mirage. It will only appear that he won, Trump.
You could fit that in with Hillary's remarks about don't resign, whatever you do.
Don't concede to Biden. Never concede.
Part of the same plot here.
Well, yeah.
PR people working overtime on this.
That's a pretty clever one, the red mirage. And, that's very clever. That's
Red mirage was the impeachment hearings.
Yeah. Well, this is what they mean by that. In 2016, if you remember, Florida wasn't called for a long time, and I was watching on CNN. John King had the county map of Florida. Florida has 67 counties in it. 66 counties reported in. One didn't, Broward County. Broward County reported in very, very late. And the reason that is the Democrats running the office in Broward County, the elections office, were waiting from the call from the Javits Center. Can we stuff the ballot boxes enough to bring Florida to Trump? They got the call, you can't do it. There's not enough, you can't stuff them enough in Broward alone. And then all of a sudden, Broward's results came in. What this Red Mirage is talking about doing is cause confusion with this mail-in ballots scam that Trump's been warning us about, to declare Biden the victor days after the election. And this is very frightening. This is going to be a rough time the week after the election. The 2000 recount, on election night, I go to bed early because I got to be up here early. I don't stay up. And I wake up in the morning, I find out. And I remember in 2000, I woke up, my wife was still up watching the returns, and I said, who won? And she says, they don't know who won. I was like, what do you mean they don't know? And she was telling me what was going on, and I was like, are you kidding me? And that went on for longer, actually, Steve. It went on past Thanksgiving. The 2000 recount. It went on for weeks. And it was December before we knew who the president was going to be officially. We knew it was, and that was just in Florida. They're talking about doing this on a much larger scale in multiple states. The chaos that we're going to go through is something I don't think people realize the level of it. And this Red Mirage is the beginning.
Enough states, they have to find out what they need. In that particular race back in 2000, it happened to be Florida that was the crucial thing in the end. But they have to do them in a bunch of states so to see which ones they need to challenge.
Well, here's the problem, Steve, with this. There's a big problem with this mail-in ballot, okay? Your ballot, and if people go back to 2000 here in Florida, you guys will remember this. You go in and you show identification to get your ballot, and then they check and make sure you're registered. If you're a Democrat, they just give you a ballot. If you're a Republican, they do all this checking. They give you a ballot, you go and vote, and you turn it in. The actual ballot is not tied to an individual. There's nothing on the ballot connecting you to that ballot. They could photocopy mail-in ballots by the millions and fill them out and dump them into the pot, and it'll be a confused pot that no sense will be able to be made out of. The ballot is secret. Balloting is secretive because you don't want you don't want people to know how you voted on your ballot, because if you did that, the unions or BLM, they would be checking to make sure you voted right. So the ballot itself, once it's put in the voting ballot box, is not tied to a person. Nobody knows whose ballot is who once it's in the box. So this is scary.
It's very scary. Although the nice part about Florida is we now have a Republican who was the Oliphant, who was the one that used to be the
in the 2000 recount. I want to. Oh no! That was 100 years ago. Miriam Oliphant. I can't remember the name of the last one, but she was removed by Governor DeSantis, and we got a.
They found all kinds of when they arrested her or fired her or whatever it was. They found all kinds of boxes of ballots and stuff like that they had been prepared to use in the last election, but the discrepancy in vote totals was too great. And it has.
Well, what they don't. This is what I know. People think, I've talked about this before. People think this is crazy, but this is what I think the plan is. Now, again, if you watch MSNBC, you will see that these Democrats are clearly insane and they're not thinking clearly. Okay, and they're consumed with rage and anger and conspiracy theories. They don't think Biden's going to be the president with this. They're going to try to cause so much confusion after the election. This is their plan. They're going to try to cause so much chaos and confusion that the Electoral College cannot meet to declare a president and make Pelosi the president. But Pelosi has talked about this. She's next in line of succession. She said a couple weeks ago she just had her succession briefing from the federal government, whoever briefs her on such things, and they think that they have a path for Pelosi to become president, even if it's for an hour. She wants it. This whole thing is to delegitimize the vote. This is election interference times a billion. What they're talking. This red mirage scares me because that is very sophisticated marketing. Red mirage, because it counters the red tsunami or the red wave or whatever it's called. That is very upper level, coherent, well thought out liberal propaganda. The red mirage, and Bloomberg is the funder of this Democrat data mining organization that came up with the theory of the red mirage on election night. Bloomberg's got nothing but money and anger, and he hates Trump. Trump made fun of his height, and he doesn't, so he's pissed. He did, repeatedly.
We're up on a break here. Let me give out the numbers. I want to take some calls. We've been very light on calls today.
Yes.
On the air, I don't know what how many people have been left holding on, waiting their turn, but we're going to try to take between now and the end of the show. We're going to try to take some more calls. Our number 1-888, if you want to get on the air, 1-888 GO KANE, 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 and then the number 1-888 GO KANE 1. We'll be back with your calls after this.
Do you think you've come in contact with someone who has coronavirus? Steve Kane's wife Lori did, and she went to Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs to find out if she has coronavirus.
So I came into contact with somebody who tested positive for COVID, and I was scared, and I needed results right away, so I went to Any Lab Test Now in Coral Springs. It was great. I didn't want to have to stand in line for 2 hours and have a swab stuck down my nose into my brain. It was very pleasant. I made an appointment. They got me in within the hour. I was out of there within 20 minutes. Thank goodness the test was negative, and I can go back to work tomorrow. They also tested me for the antibodies, and I haven't been exposed. So do what I did. Go over to Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs. They give great rates for Steve Kane listeners, and tell them we sent you.
It's worth 15 minutes of your time to have peace of mind and know that you and your family are safe. Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs is located at 955 North University Drive on the southeast corner of University and Ramblewood near the Coral Square Mall. You can call them at 954-906-5983. 954-906-5983. Any Lab Test Now of Boca is in the Sandalfoot Plaza, where the Western Beef is, south of Palmetto Park Road and north of Hillsboro. Call them at 561-237-5009. 561-237-5009. Make sure you tell them you heard about them on the radio.
This is Dr. Matez from the Boca Raton Center for Age Management. Have you lost the sensation in your breast with age or as a result of breast implants? Do you have scars, stretch marks, or the dreaded droop? Great news, we can correct it all with a simple, non-surgical treatment known as the Vampire Breast Lift. This procedure is so quick and simple, you can do it on your lunch break. If those spectacular breast implants aren't so spectacular anymore, or if you wish to rejuvenate your natural breast tissue, soften scars and stretch marks, and regain sensation, the Vampire Breast Lift is for you. Call me at 561-953-5490. That's 561-953-5490, or visit my website at www.hormonetherapybocaraton.com.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for WWNN.
Oh my goodness. All right. We are back. I'm sorry, guys, got me off guard. I'm Brian. This is the Steve Kane Show. Steve's with us here. Steve Kane Show. Hey, okay, all right. You back with us, Steve? Okay, I thought I lost you. Sorry. I ran out to the men's room during the break, and I rushed back in. Some of the commercials aren't long enough to make it to the men's room and back. I actually had to use the ladies' room because the men's room was too far for the commercials in that break. Anyway, guys, welcome back. This interview that President Trump did last night with Laura Ingraham was amazing. And there was one big takeaway. I played this earlier in the show. This was pretty frightening. President Trump declassified live on Fox News some information.
Pulling Biden's strings. Is it former Obama
People that you've never heard of. People that are in the dark shadows. People that...
What does that mean? That sounds sounds like conspiracy theory, dark shadows.
No,
What is that?
people that you haven't heard of. They're people that are on the streets. They're people that are controlling the streets. We had somebody get on a plane from a certain city this weekend, and in the plane it was almost completely loaded with thugs wearing these dark uniforms, black uniforms with gear and this and that. They're on a plane.
Where's this?
I'll tell you sometime, but it's under investigation right now. But they came from a certain city, and this person was coming to the Republican National Convention, and there were like 7 people on the plane like this person, and then a lot of people were on the plane to do big damage.
Well, it sounds like domestic terrorism. That's frightening. That's really scary, and yeah.
Only mentioned in passing it. We got a flashback to the Republican convention. But you know why that whole thing occurred at the end? I really it dawned on me.
What thing at the end? What thing?
With the riot.
Oh, out front? Yeah.
Yeah. You know, the mayor was responsible for that. She underassigned the police so that if there had been the appropriate number of police there when the Republican convention let out, none of that crap would have happened. It only happened as a result of the fact that she saw to it, because obviously she has control over the police department, she saw to it that the police were understaffed, which basically invited that harm.
Well, to me, it sounds like that's a sign of coordination between the mayor.
It's
collusion.
The sign that the what is it they say, the corpse rots.
Yeah.
The head down. I mean, that was set up by the mayor to happen.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I called you yesterday to turn on MSNBC because MSNBC has this narrative they were selling a lot yesterday, that the violence in these cities like Portland is happening because Trump won't intervene, and he won't intervene because in these cities the people don't vote for him, and he only cares about cities where people vote for him. And they were selling this line of crap. It makes sense to them.
In fact, the one problem that I have with the way Trump and our people are conveying this message, they're not making clear that it is the Constitution, the United States Constitution, that precludes Trump calling in the feds without an invitation from the local authorities. Under the Constitution, he's not allowed to do that. And while it's mentioned in passing, not enough is made of that, and I don't think that's clear.
Yeah.
That's the major reason. It's the responsibility of the blue government.
Yeah, yeah.
They're the only ones that can approve that.
Well, when the president goes to Kenosha today, which they sent the feds in and they cleaned it up in there, I'm really hoping that we see on television the destruction. I hope Trump doesn't go there and meet with people in a room somewhere and get briefed. I hope he walks the city where these protesters have been looting. I was talking about this to you yesterday. I saw some aerial photographs yesterday morning of Kenosha, and it looks literally as because it happened. Bombs went off. I mean, there's whole places where there were buildings out a week ago that are empty, that are burned to the ground now, and he really needs to go and survey the damage, not go and get briefed in a room somewhere, which is what they do a lot of times when he goes to places like this. People need to see what happened there.
My guess it's going to be handled the same way they handled the hurricane follow-up.
What's that?
That Trump will be at in the field. Well,
yeah. Oh, you mean this past week? This one? Yeah. Yeah. Well, like when he went to Puerto Rico, he was just like in a warehouse, and he was getting briefed by the people from FEMA and everything. I don't want to watch a briefing. I want him to walk by so people can see the burned down buildings and the graffiti. And they may, that would be the point of the trip. And this business of the very overweight father there who says, I'm not going to meet with him. I've already met with I've already talked to President Biden. The press keep asking Trump if he will meet with the family so that the family can snub him. They're trying to get him snubbed by the family either will not show up or they'll go there and reprimand him in public. So the press are trying to set, and Trump said no. Trump's much smarter than they will ever admit. He's not going to fall into that trap. But that's what they're trying to get the father to be able to tell Trump off in person, or to snub him and not show up, and Trump be there hanging out by himself somewhere. But this thing Trump said yesterday that he was going to call the family, and they wanted to put the attorneys on, which is Benjamin Crump, I guess. And he said that's not appropriate, and he wouldn't do it. I mean, what the hell is that? What was Benjamin Crump going to say to the president?
Well, all this stuff that they're trying to create an image that Biden is out of the cellar. Biden's not out of the cellar until the thing that you can measure it by is when he starts to take questions from reporters, outside questions. Until he takes questions, it's all a staged PR thing.
Yesterday, he didn't take one question, and they have this, and the media never complained. He had this event yesterday where let me play the clip where everyone's playing this clip. Hold on a second. This when he said this.
COVID has taken this year, just since the outbreak, it's taken more than 100 years. Look, here's the lives.
I mean, that's really bad. Now that moment there, he was on stage with the flag behind him. They had about 10 members of the press in this large empty room in social distance circles. It looks like, when they show it, it looks like a press conference, but it wasn't. He didn't take a single question, even though they staged it so that when the clips came out, it looked like a press conference. He didn't take one. Yeah.
So it looks like it's
a press conference, and it wasn't. He didn't take one question, and not one member of the media complained about it. And I saw there's video that Jack Posobiec put on Twitter that is not being circulated anywhere in the media, that when Biden drove up to that event, there were about 25 or 30 people outside. That's it. It was empty. There was no one showed up to see Biden. And so to act as if this guy's a player in a presidential race is pathetic. I mean, he looks like he's running for city council somewhere. So few people are turning up. And yesterday was the first time he's been on a plane since March. I mean, he's not even campaigning.
Yeah, I wanted to point out one thing no one has mentioned. I'm a little nervous about the fact this thing has spread to California. California, the land of the fruits and nuts, where I lived for many years. Actually, I was living in California. Some of you who listen to the show and have for a long time know this about me. I was in California during the OJ trial. I was in California during the Rodney King riots. And they have a...
Yeah. Well, this guy that the police shot yesterday, the police shot a guy yesterday, and he had a pistol, the guy they shot. He had a gun.
Story, yeah. But by the time the press gets it, there are going to be questions about that.
That's not even, you have to really search to find that out.
Concede that. They're not going to concede that.
No. All right, listen, it's time for our top of the hour break, all right? You're listening to The Steve Kane Show. I'm Brian Craig. We've got Steve Kane here, of course. Our number toll-free from anywhere, 1-888-GO-KANE-1. 888-465-2631. We'll take our break and be back with the third and final hour after this.
9.3 FM, 96.9 FM,
Steve Kane Show.
103.9 FM, and AM 1470. WWNN Pompano Beach is the Florida Money Talk Network.
In Florida, every day is a great day to grill. Ace Hardware Deerfield and Beach Ace Hardware are giving away a brand new grill to a Steve Kane Show listener. All you do is go to the store and enter. This is a propane grill valued at almost $400. Can't use propane? No problem. Ace will give you an electric grill instead. The choice is yours. Ace Hardware will assemble the grill for you and deliver it to your home, all for free. This is their way of thanking all the Steve Kane listeners for their support. No purchase is necessary. Just go on in and enter. Ace Hardware Deerfield is located just south of Hillsborough on the west side of US 1, 365 South Federal Highway, Deerfield Beach. Beach Ace Hardware is
Steve
at
Kane Show.
232 Commercial Boulevard, Lauderdale by the
Steve
Sea.
Kane Show.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
The Steve Kane Show is sponsored by I Will Advisors, specializing in senior solutions. Seniors, Medicare open enrollment is approaching. Call Debbie at I Will Advisors and schedule your free, no-obligation appointment to discuss all your Medicare options. 954-753-8080. 954-753-8080. The Steve Kane Show is brought to you by attorney Barry Siegel at the Siegel Law Group. Veterans and spouses of veterans, you may be entitled to benefits that you are not aware of, including long-term care benefits. Call attorney Barry Siegel at the Siegel Law Group and find out what benefits are available to you. With offices in Boca Raton and Fort Lauderdale, call toll-free 1.
Hey Scott, it's Brian. You ready for us?
FLA 3782
Okay, hold on.
1-855-FLA
Steve Kane Show.
3782.
This is Brian Craig, and I want to tell you about Dr. Mitch Batez at the Boca Raton Center.
Okay, I'll take a look. I'll take a look. I got to run though, Nick. Okay, I'll take a look.
That's right. I'm an anti-aging doctor now. I was starting to slow down a bit. I met with Dr. Matez, and he found that my testosterone level was low. We men begin losing our testosterone starting at age 30, and it goes down every year after that. Dr. Matez told me I was approaching the beginning of andropause. That's the male equivalent of menopause. I began bioidentical hormone pellet therapy. They're tiny little pellets inserted under my skin, and now my testosterone levels are being restored to where they were when I was 25 years old. Thanks to Dr. Matez, I have more energy, I feel better, I look better, my love life, it's better, and my wife, she's thanking Dr. Matez too. Bioidentical hormone pellet therapy isn't just for men, it works wonders for women by reversing the symptoms of menopause, like the night sweats and the mood swings. Men and women, you don't have to live with the negative effects of aging, like loss of energy, loss of sexual desire, weight gain, or menopause. Call Dr. Matez and meet with him about bioidentical hormone pellet therapy. It works for me, and it'll work for you too. He's located in Boca, and his website is hormonetherapybocaraton.com. Or give him a call, 561-953-5490. 561-953-5490. And tell him Brian Craig sent you.
You are listening to South Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show. To call the show toll-free, dial 1-888-COCAINE-1. That's 1-888-COCAINE-1. And now...
All right, third and final hour has begun. And Steve, look who we have on the line. Scott Messamore from Cut My Kilowatts. Hey, Scott.
Hey, Brian. I don't know if a lot of the viewers out there or listeners know that I'm originally from Chicago, but I lived in Kenosha, Wisconsin for 25 years. And
oh, wow.
on the phone talking to people from Kenosha, which I consider my hometown because I was there most of my adult life. And that town was literally attacked by an invading army of terrorists that are well-funded, well-organized. They come in, they all have equipment, they all have gear. They're provided with gasoline and everything. They're being put up in the hotel rooms to literally come in and attack and destroy the town. And the local people there, after days of the police doing nothing and the National Guard not being called out, literally had to get out there with their guns and shoot at people to make them stop destroying their stuff. They were going to go through the residential neighbors' hoods and burn the houses down after they got done with the business.
I'm trying to remember if you mentioned to me. Did you know the guy that got shot?
No, I don't know any of the people that got shot. I don't know the little kid. A friend of mine owns a tire shop there, and he was interviewed by the Federalist or something, a guy named Chucky McElroy, and he had to get on the roof of his business, and he's probably still up there, and literally fire shots at people, the crowds approaching with, Molotov cocktails, gas, and, they were just systematically going business to business and burning businesses. We're at war in this country. I mean, we need to treat it like we're at war. We need to call up the gloves up, and they need to start dropping bodies because we're.
Mm. Yeah. Well, that's inciting of violence is what she's doing. It's inciting violence, which is illegal. Yeah. That's right. Oh well, you gotta. You're on the radio, Scott Messamore. You gotta. Yeah. That's okay. That's. Well, yeah. Yeah, yeah. To go in, yeah. Yeah, I can hear you, Steve. We got you. You with us, Steve? I think we lost our, yeah. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Wow. Wow. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Steve Kane Show.
You were a Wisconsin boy, but who knows? By the way, that's a great.
Oh, okay.
phrase you
Hold on.
came up
Sure. Hold
with.
on. Hold on.
United we stand.
Yeah. Now, Scott. Now, Scott. You want to? Now, your life in Florida this time of year is. The heat index the other day was 110 degrees on Saturday. Did you know that, Steve? 110 degrees heat index. Yeah. I couldn't believe that. That's what the temperature feels like. It's kind of like the opposite of the wind chill. And over at Cut My Kilowatt, Scott, you're in the business of saving people money on their electric bill on these hot days.
For all Steve Kane listeners, I remember, you guys remember I had a big sale going on. Well, we're a little slow again. We could really use the work, so I'm still willing to come out even in this extreme heat just to try and keep my guys busy. I'm willing to do the work at 50% off on the radiant barrier, 50% off on the installation. And if they do 2,000 square feet or more with me, I'll give them an additional $500 off. If they do 4,000 square feet, I'll give them another $1,000. I mean, and people, this works. I've done thousands and thousands of homes in South Florida. We advertise at other radio stations. We've done people all over South Florida.
I have my reasons, guys. Don't you worry.
To get just to try and stay busy.
Yeah.
Before you leave us, Scott, give me the number. What is the percentage that you save on the electric bill with this great technology that you can install?
Steven,
how much would we?
It's
well,
not an
ballpark. Give me a ballpark.
But anywhere from 20% on a really efficient home to 40% on a really inefficient home. So the worse off you are, the better I can help. I mean, if you've got those big bills, I can cut those bills down, almost in half.
Well, how can people get a hold of you, Scott?
That's 954-939-1500, and that's direct to my cell phone. You can call, text me, and if you don't get me, just send me a text message, and I'll call you right back. If I miss your call, I'll probably call you back anyways, because I dial back all numbers if I can't pick up because I'm on the phone with someone else. But
Scott,
number again.
Good talking to you.
No problem.
Yeah, and you can find Scott's number at we're at it. We got a delay going on. I'm sorry, Steve. You can give out the number one last time, Scott. I apologize.
4-939-1500, or you can find me on the web at Cut My Kilowatt.
All right, Scott. We'll talk tomorrow. Take care. All right. No, we're back. We're back, Steve. We are back. No. We're back now. We are back. I got to tell you what. I'm sorry. We just have a delay. We got caught in a delay loop there. This violence that's going on nationwide is becoming like the norm. Like it would be more newsworthy if there was a night without violence. And I look at what happens in Portland. I feel so sorry for these people. You hear what Scott's talking about with his friends, with their business. I feel so sorry for the people that are being held hostage in these liberal cities.
They marched on Wheeler's house. I love it.
Oh yeah. Did they know that was his place? They knew that was his place.
He's got a war going with the people from what is it? It's
Portland. Oh, Antifa.
People from they have a war going on with the mayor. He's really between the rocks.
Well, you know what I think that's about? Okay, they marched on the mayor's condo building or something, right? I think if you look at what happened in Seattle, okay, and it even happened a little bit in Chicago, these mayors don't want any interference from at all with the protesters until they come to their house, and then all of a sudden they want protection. Maybe they're trying to get the mayor of Portland to cause a confrontation, to bring in some of the federal forces to try to crack down on them, so there will be violence.
What it is this: the mayor lot of people don't know this. The mayor, I do believe, is also the police commissioner. And so what the rioters claim they want is changing the police, coming down. It's basically an anti-police movement. And because he's head of the police department, they focused on him for the changes they want. And of course, he's not going to do anything. So he has two conflicts going on there, not just one.
It's scary. It's scary. The people that live in these towns, they don't all support this. The people that live in these cities, they might be Democrats, but they don't like this going on. And they're really they're being terrorized in their own communities. Trump. I wonder if there's a mechanism for Trump to declare a disaster zone without a governor and move in.
More about that question today.
Well, in Kenosha, I'm imagining in Kenosha, because it's already happened, right? The mayor in Kenosha said last night that Trump sending in guard troops stopped it. So if that comes up today while Trump's in Kenosha, these other mayors may be embarrassed. This jerk in Portland may be embarrassed to ask Trump to come in. You don't know. All right, listen. Our number is toll free 1-888-GO-KANE1. That's Kane with a K, Kane, and the number 1-888-465-2631. Let's take a call here. You are on the radio. Good morning.
Oh, good morning. This is Mary Beth in Coral Springs.
Oh, hey, Mary Beth in Coral Springs. How are you?
Good. How are you? I thought I'd give Scott a shout out.
Oh, Scott from Cut My Kilowatts. Well, what that radiant barrier does is it blocks the heat from coming into your attic and heating up your AC ducts. So now you have that radiant barrier up there, the AC ducts aren't getting hot and they're not making the air warm inside of them that's supposed to cool you. So that's great. How long ago did you have Scott at your house? Wow. That's amazing. Well, thanks so much for the testimonial. We appreciate that. Take care. Oh man, that's some great news. That stuff does work. All right, listen. Let's take our break. All right, and we will be right back.
Do you suffer from foot pain that just won't go away? Do you have balance issues and are you afraid of falling? Are you in need of orthotics? Are you a diabetic and in need of diabetic shoes and custom inserts? These are just a few reasons why you would call the Soul Authority today. Whether it's in the comfort of your own home or coming to the office at one of our 2 convenient locations in Pembroke Pines or Tamarack, the Soul Authority can take care of all of your podiatric needs. If you're a Medicare recipient, call us today at 954-597-7060. That's 954-597-7060. And you can also find us online at thesoulauthority.com. That's THESOLE authority.com. Call the Soul Authority today and start taking care of your feet.
Brian Craig here. When it comes to auto repair, you want a garage that you can trust. Someone that will only do work on your car when your car needs work. Introducing Champagne Automotive in Boca Raton, the latest sponsor of the Steve Kane Radio Show. Tom called in on the radio to tell us about his experience with Champagne Automotive.
Hi, this is Tom from Tamarack.
Hey, Tom from Tamarack, what's up?
I just want to tell you guys something. I spent the last 2 days trying to get brakes for my car. I was leaving the house yesterday to go try another place that had a lower price. They wanted $800 for brakes. And that advertisement came on for Champagne. I live in Western Tamarack. I said, let me take a drive up there. Well, I was almost blown over how friendly, honest, old school these people are.
Old school, that's really the term that really describes it.
But let me tell you, the guy I had gone to previously won $800. He said, well, you need to change your power steering fluid. And Ed, the owner, put the car up on the lift, pulled the wheels, says, you don't need brakes. And I about fell over.
Wow. Well, tell me the end of the story. You got me hooked.
So it wasn't that your vehicle was misdiagnosed at the other place. You were dealing with a crook.
Oh, Absolutely. This guy wanted to sell me everything but a washing machine. I don't want that.
Now, this is our new sponsor. We have wanted for a long time to have an auto repair shop. When it comes to auto repair, that is the most difficult category for us to find as an advertiser, because most are like this guy you were dealing with the other day over in Tamarack. They're crooks. And we found Champagne Automotive. Ed, who's the owner, is a listener of the program. They come very, very highly recommended. So I appreciate you calling in and telling us the good story. Now, Champagne Automotive, they're in Boca, off Spanish River Boulevard, immediately west of Dixie Highway. The number is 561-245-8101. 561-245-8101.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio.
All right, we're back to Steve Kane Show. Hey, Steve, did you catch Trump's press conference yesterday afternoon? Oh, it was a good one. It was a good one. Yesterday afternoon, there was these people in the media are just out of their minds. This CNN girl that fills in for Jim Acosta was there, and she was trying to discount the prayer guys there. You remember the one got murdered? You know, the Trump people that went into Portland, and the one guy was murdered. And she took issue with something that they had, which is so strange, and Trump had a very good response. Apparently, there are reports that the Trump people had paintball guns. You know, the little paintball games, you know? Listen to this exchange.
Just criticizing Joe Biden, saying he didn't mention the far left or Antifa during his speech today. You said you wanted to talk about left-wing political violence, but I noticed you did not mention that your supporters were also in Portland this weekend, firing paintball guns at people, some form of pepper spray. So do you want to also take this chance to condemn what your supporters did?
Okay, now this paintball gun thing, this came up earlier with McEnany in her press conference. A reporter asked if she and the president would condemn the Trump people that had paintball guns. And McEnany said, this has been going on for 90 days. There are people that have been shot dead in the head, and you're talking to me about paintball guns? You know, which is like a kid's game. I've played paintball. And Trump had this is Trump's, though, exchange. So that's a CNN reporter. Will you condemn your supporters that have the paintball game?
So do you want to also take this chance to condemn what your supporters did?
Well, I understand they had large numbers of people that were supporters, but that was a peaceful protest. And paint is not, and paint as a defensive mechanism, paint is not bullets.
That's exactly right.
Supporters, your supporters, and they are your supporters.
See, now this is interesting. He's talking to CNN. He's talking about the rioters. He says, your supporters, he says to CNN. I thought that was pretty good.
Paint is not, and paint as a defensive mechanism, paint is not bullets. Your supporters, and they are your supporters indeed, shot a young gentleman who, and killed him, not with paint, but with a bullet. And I think it's disgraceful. These people, they protested peacefully. They went in very peacefully. And I'll tell you what they're protesting. They're protesting when they turn on television or read whatever they may be reading, and they see a city like Chicago where 78 people were shot and 13 died, or a city like New York where the crime rate has gone through the roof, or a city like Portland where the entire city is ablaze all the time, and the mayor says we don't want any help from the federal government. When these people turn that on and they see that, they say, this is not our country. This is not our country. That was a peaceful protest, totally.
See what this paintball gun exchange, that came up twice yesterday in the press briefings. You know, what they're trying to do is justify the murder of this Trump guy in Portland by classifying them as armed vigilantes who deserve to get killed because they were out there inciting violence with paint. Pretty brutal stuff. I mean, the media are so low life. They're not asking about the guy who was murdered in Portland. They're asking about some guys that had some paint. It's just bizarre to me.
The point is that now that the truth comes out each day, and people have starting to get a realistic sense of what the dynamics are. The press siding with them is not going to help them. It's going to help us.
Exactly.
People are fed up.
But you know, But you know what though? This paintball thing seems stupid for them to ask. This came up about 3 or 4 hours earlier in the day in the White House press briefing with McEnany. She totally humiliated the reporter who asked about it. She's like, a guy just had a bullet put in his head, and you're asking me about paint. And still, 4 or 5 hours later, they bring back the same question. So you and I look at it and we say, this is absurd, this helps Trump, this helps us. The media, they just can't get it through their head. They're totally out of touch with reality. Yeah, Trump has his highest approval rating ever. Oh, look who's on the line, Steve. Wait, well, before we do that, we have attorney Barry Siegel, our estate planning attorney, on the line. Hey, Barry Siegel. Doing well. How are you?
I'm doing.
What's up, Barry?
Good morning, Steve. How have you been?
I'm excellent. Excellent.
Great.
Any day's a good day when I started talking to you.
Oh, thank you. This morning I want to talk I want to speak out to the folks out there who've already done their estate planning, whether they did it with us, whether they did it elsewhere. Congratulations, you did a good job. You took care of the business you need to take care of, taking care of yourself and your family, your loved ones. And so congratulations to you. You got over procrastinating and you took care of that. So that's the good news. Now, the other side of it is, when is the last time you brushed it off, took the dust off, and opened it up and looked to see what's in there? Does it work for you now? Is it up to date? Does it have the right people in place to take care of important decisions if you're not able to? You have the right distribution of your assets upon your death. You have the right people taking care of your minor children if you have any. All of these questions, when's the last time you took a look at it? So we invite you to come in to see us for a free review. Bring it in. We'll take a look at it together. We'll tell you exactly what you have. We'll discuss what some common goals are, some things that may be missing in there, some legal language that may have changed as far as the laws changing in the last few years that may not be in there. And we'll make sure that you have an estate plan that's going to work for you, not just today, but with our 3-year review every 3 years, make sure that you have a lifetime of updating so that you can have an estate plan that's going to work.
And again, there's no charge for that consult. Barry, give them your number over there so they can make that appointment.
Yeah, if you'd like to make an appointment for your free consultation and free review of your current estate plan, you can call our office and speak to our amazing team. 855-FLA-ESTATE. That's 855-FLA-3782. You could also check us out on our website, www.Siegel, that's S-I-E-G-E-L, SiegelLawGroup.com.
All right, give attorney Barry Siegel a call, and we'll talk later in the week, Barry. Thanks so much. How are your grandkids are doing that homeschooling thing, Steve? How's that working?
You ask. It's working out. I mean, it takes a lot of discipline. I give my daughter Jennifer a tremendous amount of credit. She's a super mother. She's got great intuitions when it comes to family, and she's a good disciplinarian, and she's doing better with her patients. So it's working out.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're a real school.
You know, and, well, they should be opened up already, actually. They'll be opening up this year. They'll be opening up. Probably, I'm thinking the schools are going to open after Christmas. The ones that are still shut down. After the Christmas break, they'll start opening up again.
Was there an announcement yesterday? On the vaccine?
Not that I saw. They're going to rush it through a little bit, I heard some reports, but it was a vague story. When the vaccine comes in, then everything will change. But until there's a vaccine, they have an excuse.
for solutions here. Their whole campaign is based on finding things to worry about. So they're not going to be in favor of people taking, they're going to discourage people from taking the vaccine.
Well, yeah. Well, they're already undermining it. Yeah, and what's going to happen, I'm guessing, is this. Trump yesterday was attacking Fauci. He says, I didn't hire him, I inherited him, and all this stuff. When Trump wins re-election, and hopefully it'll go smoother than the Democrats are trying to make it sound with the red mirage, I think one of the first things he'll do after the re-election is fire Fauci. And once that happens, he's going to be parked over on CNN day in and day out, undermining everything involving the vaccine and everything else that goes along with it. Fauci, he's going to be on a tear against Trump, but he's going to let him go. I can tell he hates him. He cut him out of the whole process. He brought in that Dr. Atlas, and when's the last time you saw Fauci at a press conference? He's very angry at Fauci. And when he fires Fauci, the media are going to have... A lot of people think that... I have noticed, I must tell you, that there's less focus on the COVID numbers in the mainstream media than in the past. There's a little less focus on it than they've had in the past. But once the election is over, they're not going to let this go. They're not going to let it go. They're going to try to continue to damage him with it. And keep...
I'll tell you why I don't agree with that. Because I think they are motivated purely and simply. Everything is politics. Politics means winning the November election. Once that's done, once it's no longer an issue, they're not going to have, the Democrats are not going to have an interest in
yeah. Yeah. The midterm elections. As soon as Trump wins re-election, they're gonna start working on the midterm elections. They're not gonna give. Yeah, that's how it always works. You think so? I don't know. It seems to me they're digging in to contest this for months.
Going to be able to hold this whole thing with the coronavirus and all that up for 2 years. I mean, it's going to be solved by the.
I was watching TV last night, and a Biden Kamala Harris commercial came on. It was the most bizarre commercial I've ever seen in politics, and it made no sense whatsoever. Some of you may have seen this. They don't talk about the issues. It's just a camera going through empty sports stadiums, like empty football and baseball stadiums. It's very strange.
And this is so stupid. Well, it's not strange. They're trying.
It makes no sense to me.
I'll make sense of it for you. They're so desperate for an issue here that they're trying to turn the closing down of sports against Trump. But the reason that's so stupid is because Trump has made a major thing about being on the other side of that. So they picked a bad issue because pretty much everybody out there knows how hard Trump is working to get the sports cooking again.
I mean, who would watch that commercial and think there's no professional sports because of Trump? I don't see how they. You'd have to be pretty brain dead to believe that one, And then they go through this, and then I saw another commercial for Biden, and it goes through everything he's going to do, and then one says national mask mandate. I mean, people are rebelling against this stuff. They're really rebelling against it, and I'll tell you, there's coronavirus fatigue among people in this country. They want to move beyond it, and the Democrats. A lot of California is still shut down. People forget it's still shut down in California. It is not reopened out there yet. And it.
Democrats are doing revolves, preventing Trump from taking any issue and becoming victorious on it. And that motivation disappears.
Yeah.
At least in the short term, it disappears after the election is settled.
Yeah. Yeah.
We won the election, but withstood all the moves on the part of Democrats to steal it.
Yeah.
Fox, Frank Luntz was on it the other day.
Oh, He's a creep. He's a never Trumper.
He was evidently sick or something, because he made reference to it, and he's now just beginning to come back. But he's got a new toupee and a new.
The new toupee is pretty bad, though. That's like a Jerry Witchner toupee.
It was trying to remember which host it was. Greg Gutfeld made a remark about his.
Oh, really? No, I missed this.
This.
He made a remark about the rug.
Well, they interviewed
Lutz. Frank Lutz.
Interviewing Lutz at his home, which, by the way, is the polling business is quite lucrative because it's a very plush, palatial type home.
He lives in Brentwood.
Magnificent Persian rugs, you know.
Oh my gosh.
And Gutfeld's last remark to
Frank Lutz.
Look, great rug.
Oh my goodness. Oh. Oh my gosh. Well, you know, I'll tell you this entire conversation Steve and I had, I think was a lead-in to our conversation with Richard Pearl from Simply Natural, because, you know, Steve and I both have memory problems. I'm always forgetting stuff. Are there any supplements that help with memory, Richard Pearl?
Yeah, there's quite a few. You know, I own a site called senilejoe.com that I bought over a year ago and renewed recently because I saw that Joe Biden was having issues. So long before it became fashionable to talk about it, I bought the domain name. And the reason I could see it so clearly, first of all, I'm in the nutrition business, so you see subtle things that happen to people and you know where it's leading. But my dad died of Alzheimer's. And I made a legacy product because of that, called Brain Factors. It's not my company, and the name is not something I came up with, but the ingredients inside the bottle, that was my idea. And it became a really top seller for that company. And so for that reason, along that product, which has virtually everything that you could want, along with taking a couple other things like lion's mane and magnesium threonate, you can actually dramatically change brain health. So I wasn't going to bring that subject up, but I'm glad you brought it up. There are so many things that people can do to dramatically, and I mean dramatically, improve their brain health. It doesn't mean you have to wait until something bad happens. It doesn't mean you have to wait until you're a certain age. But if you want to dramatically improve your brain health, we have stuff at Simply Natural that is extraordinary. And part of my motivation, part of my passion for it is, again, what happened in my own family. So that is the best form of inspiration when you have something that you have to tackle and make better. My dad never took any of the products. He wasn't into anything natural. I'm sure that reads true for some of the people that you guys know.
Oh, yeah.
Care about their brain and don't want to just listen to the doctors who don't have a solution. All they have is Namenda, Aricept, and a couple other drugs that only delay, they don't fix. The outcome is always the same. Take some stuff naturally. Don't be afraid of natural. It's a propaganda to think that natural products don't work as well as drugs. It is incredibly stupid and short-sighted. Natural products work way better than...
Yeah. Well, let me tell you something. Memory is a big thing. Brain health is very important. Give Richard Pearl over at Simply Natural a call. His store opens up 7 days a week at 11 a.m. and they're open till 9 p.m. The number over there, 954-741-4045, 954-741-4045. And Simply Natural is located in the city of Sunrise, just north of Sunset Strip on the east side of University. And tomorrow, Wednesday, at 11 a.m., catch Richard Pearl's show, Pearls of Health, on our radio stations. All right, Richard Pearl, we'll talk tomorrow. Oh, big announcement tomorrow. The suspense is killing me already. You know, Trump did one thing yesterday that really surprised me. But, Trump always knows what he's talking about, and he's always very well-informed and always 20 steps ahead of everyone else. So I never question Trump because I've never known him to, even when it seems that he may be wrong, in the end he's always right. And he was defending this teenager, Rittenhouse, that shot 3 people, killing 2 of them in Kenosha last week. And he'd obviously had been briefed by law enforcement, and he talked about how it was a self-defense issue with the kid. Yeah.
There were 3 shootings, though. The last 2 were self-defense. In fact, the last guy that he shot had an automatic weapon pointed right upside his head, getting ready to pull the trigger. So, the last 2 were definitely self-defense because the opponents had guns ready to use against him. The first one is not as clear-cut.
Did he kill the first one, or is that the one he wounded? Which one? Oh, okay. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Well, for Trump had been very well briefed, probably by, I don't know, FBI. I don't know who briefed him, but he was very up to speed on what happened, and he seems to think it's a clear self-defense. And he went through all of them. I know we've seen video of the second 2. The first one, I don't know if I haven't seen video of the first one. And I guess after the first one, they were targeting him, maybe. And that's where it became self-defense. But believe me, Trump didn't...
After the first one, they started chasing him.
Well, Trump did not just defend this kid lightly. He knew exactly what he was talking about. He's not a knee-jerk guy on this. So that's my first instinct was this kid was insane to be there with a gun and all of this, and now we're finding out something different. See what happens? You rush to judgment on things like I did, and then new things come out. So they may have overcharged him because there's that immediate rush, to have something happen for the mob, and he's been arrested and charged with a whole bunch of things. That seems like he may be way overcharged. According to Trump, they were talking about it last night. This is Fredo on CNN.
So why would this president lie about the reality? It seems this is just about scaring his base enough to win the election. And I have to tell you, whatever the polls say, it may work. The big question is, at what price? He is now literally painting a man who supports him as a victim. At the same time, the police are calling him a murderer.
Now, the man is the 17-year-old kid, by the way.
That was an interesting situation. You saw the same tape as I saw. And he was trying to get away from them, I guess, it looks like. And he fell. And then they very violently attacked him. And it was something that we're looking at right now, and it's under investigation. But I guess he was in very big trouble. He probably would have been killed.
You guess? He probably would have been killed?
Yeah, that's what he said. He's got to repeat it, I guess, Fredo, just in case you didn't. Yeah. And you know what? If he would have been killed, we probably wouldn't even know his name, Rittenhouse. If he would have been killed out there, we probably never would have heard of him. Just like this guy in Portland, what they're trying to do to he was killed, and they're trying to paint him as a white nationalist. Tucker had a pretty good show last night about that. Did you catch any of it? Yeah, well, last night he had one of these, what are they, prayer patriots. And the guy that was murdered was one of them. Yeah, the guy is one of the, and they're trying to say that these prayer patriots are white nationalists, white supremacists. And I guess what makes them white supremacist is they have American flags in their pickup trucks. That makes them a white supremacist. I don't know. But it was a pretty good segment last night. And his friend said that's what they're trying to do, trying to paint us as white nationalists to justify the murder. And, listen, you can be opposed to what happened with George Floyd or Jacob Blake, but it's a whole nother thing to go to the streets and shoot people and burn down businesses. And I haven't heard anyone in the media call for an end to the violence. Not one. And I don't think we're going to. And, we're 63 days away from the election, and I don't know how they keep this sustained violence every night. I don't know how they're doing it. I mean, don't any... yeah, but the people that are on the streets doing it, don't they get worn out from this? It's got to be exhausting every night. I get tired after the show. Don't you get tired after the show sometimes? Yeah.
Burning down a couple of businesses too.
Well, anytime I see them interviewed, they seem insane. There's a lot of mental health issues going on among these protesters. I mean, they're not the ones I've heard, and some of them I've heard some calm interviews by people that have infiltrated the. And when you hear them talk, they're the craziest people I've ever seen. All right, listen, we're going to take our last break of the day. When we get back, there's a lot more going on, and of course, the Gold Report. Don't go anywhere.
In Florida, every day is a great day to grill. Ace Hardware Deerfield and Beach Ace Hardware are giving away a brand new grill to a Steve Kane Show listener. All you do is go to the store and enter. This is a propane grill valued at almost $400. Can't use propane? No problem. Ace will give you an electric grill instead. The choice is yours. Ace Hardware will assemble the grill for you and deliver it to your home, all for free. This is their way of thanking all the Steve Kane listeners for their support. No purchase is necessary. Just go on in and enter. Ace Hardware Deerfield is located just south of Hillsborough on the west side of US 1, 365 South Federal Highway, Deerfield Beach. Beach Ace Hardware is at 232 Commercial Boulevard, Lauderdale by the Sea.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
The Steve Kane Show is sponsored by I Will Advisors, specializing in senior solutions. Seniors, Medicare open enrollment is approaching. Call Debbie at I Will Advisors and schedule your free, no-obligation appointment to discuss all your Medicare options. 954-753-8080. 954-753-8080.
Stop paying an outrageous fortune for your tires. Go easy on your budget and buy your tires at Friendly Tire in Margate, where they have all the major brands like Goodyear and Firestone at discount prices that absolutely can't be beaten. Steve Kane's tires for his Toyota van at the other shops, $175 a tire. At Friendly Tire, just $75 a tire. That's a $100 savings per tire. Tires for my daughter Emily's car, $135 at the shops around town. The price at Friendly Tire, only $65. That's a $70 savings per tire. These prices are out the door and on the road. Free mounting and balancing and no added charges. Friendly Tire have a great selection of good used tires too, starting at just $30 for most cars. Call my good buddy Friendly Mike at Friendly Tire. Tell him what you drive and he will give you a great low price right over the phone. 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445. Online, friendlytire.net.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for WWNN.
All right, and we are back. It's time for the Gold Report. William Youngerman from the offices of William Youngerman Incorporated. William Youngerman, good morning.
Good morning, Brian. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How's the gold market looking today?
This would be the week we'd be pushing towards that $2,000 number again for gold, and we got right up. The December contract actually got over $2,000 this morning, and the spot market got up around $1,997. So right now, gold we saw yesterday up $3.10 after breaking out and hitting a high of around $1,977, closing out the day at $1,967.40. Silver was up a big 68 cents. Closing out the day at $28.15 the ounce, while platinum was up $2 at $926, and palladium up $50 at $21.33. This morning, as I said, we got gold up almost $2,000 again, and the high was right around $1,995. Right now, it's trading at $1,992.40. That's up $25. Silver's up another 65 cents this morning at $28.80, and platinum big mover today on platinum up $34 at $960 an ounce, with palladium up another $50 today at $2,183. Much of this is on the weakness of the U.S. dollar, which continues to drift lower. The U.S. dollar index getting down to 91.88 right now, which is the lowest we've seen in quite a while. The euro at $1.20. You remember not too long ago the euro was around $1.03 or $1.05. and the British pound at $1.35 now. So a lot of fuel being added to this move in precious metals, which could propel us back up to challenge those highs that we saw earlier this year at $2,055. So good buying opportunity still, but it's closing in on those on that $2,000 number today.
So and okay.
Yeah, that's and yeah. We got a delay on you, Steve. I'm sorry about that. We got a delay. I apologize for that. Yeah, listen. William Youngerman's office is located in Boca, on the first floor of the Bank of America building, immediately east of US 1 Federal Highway, on the south side of Palmetto Park Road. You can visit his website, williamyoungerman.com, and his number is toll-free, 1-800-327-5010. 1-800-327-5010, and they open at 10 o'clock. All right, William Youngerman, we'll talk tomorrow. All right, take care. I think your grandkids are they're pulling off your internet. It causes the delay for their distance learning. This is a crazy thing, and anybody in this listening audience can do this, and you'll find out that what I am saying is true. I would recommend you do it soon because this could be changed. If you go to, Steve, if you go online to Antifa.com, what do you think comes up? If you go to Antifa.com, you just type in Antifa.com. What would you think? What would be your guess? You go to Antifa.com, what do you guess might come up when you do that?
Right-wing hate.
No, no. If you and again, go right now, people, because this could change at any moment. It may not, but it could change at any moment. If you go to Antifa.com, it takes you to the to JoeBiden.com, to the Biden-Harris campaign website. No, I'm not. I'm not. I actually. It's been this way for a few days. I saw it Saturday night, and I forgot to bring it up to you on yesterday's show, and someone in the chat room on YouTube Live mentioned it. I just checked it again while we were talking to William Youngerman. You go to Antifa.com.
I hasn't mentioned that.
Yeah, well, somebody should tweet and tag Trump this, and I'd like to see. And no one in the media is going to bother to mention this either because they don't want you to know. Now, I don't know who's playing it. I don't know if this is someone playing a joke on Biden or if this is by design, but that is crazy.
It'll be interesting to see if it's still there tomorrow morning when we start our program.
Yeah, now I've not been to the. I'll check tomorrow morning. When you go to Antifa.com, it directs you to JoeBiden.com, and he has something here on the front of his website, which is kind of like the tagline for the campaign, I guess. And I think this might be racist. Let me read this to you, okay? It's like a tagline. Biden-Harris, battle for the nation, soul of the nation. Are they saying soul because she's black? Is that kind of like a soul reference, like African-American soul, like soul food? Battle for the nation, soul of the nation. I don't know. It seems racial to me. And yeah. I'm looking at the website, and it's, it's amazing. It's been, 2-3 weeks since Kamala was picked, and she still hasn't taken one question from one reporter. And
Well, not to outshine him, doesn't she?
I think she doesn't take questions because they're going to ask her about the violence, and she doesn't want to take a position on the violence. Because if she says what she's in support of it, that hurts her. If she condemns it, she's in trouble.
Whatever the motivation is, I'm sure it's nefarious.
And the whole Biden website, it's about campaigning. Chip in to elect Joe. Donate now. Then you have another thing here. 63 days left. Every dollar counts. And they're looking for donations starting at $15 up to $1,000 and more. It seems like they're hemorrhaging. They're begging for money. This is the battle for the soul of America, and Joe Biden can't win without you on his team. Sign up and volunteer today. Yeah, well, I'll volunteer, all right. Oh my goodness. You know, this thing with the Antifa.com website directing you to Joe Biden. I mean, I would like to think that's somebody playing a joke on Biden, but you never know.
Somebody can, an opposition member, do that?
Oh yeah, I could buy any website address and direct it anywhere I want it to go. But Antifa.com is not. That's a. You would think that website address would already be taken by Antifa, right? So you just, you know, people own these things. Yeah. So you think it's.
If that's their web.
Yeah, so they're. Yeah, I guess. I don't. It'd be nice to see Fox News do a story on this and get to the bottom of it, because to me that's. Could you? Well, if the Ku Klux Klan website was directing you to Trump Pence 2020, I think they would do a story on it. You know, this one, wouldn't they? This one they don't seem to want to do a story on. I mean, I've known about this since Saturday. You know, and I haven't seen any reporting on it, and I think it's a pretty big story. It's embarrassing, and they can, you know, people at that level can find out who's behind it. They could find out who owns the website address and is directing it.
For me, the numbers have done exactly what we expected right after that brilliant convention we had. Public RNC convention.
Oh yes.
What do you see happen?
They're going to continue to go up. Yeah, and I think they're going to keep going up. Yeah. They're going to continue to go up. They got to be in a panic over Trump's huge jump among blacks. I mean, they've totally lost the black vote. They had a monopoly on the black vote.
They can't afford a hit of 10 points on the black vote without losing the election. They just can't.
No, and you know, Biden, he has not just a black.
Still, and up until yesterday, even Biden ahead by a point or two.
That's hard to believe. They don't know what they're talking about. Well, you know, with the Biden campaign doing so poorly among African Americans, not only does he have a black running mate, he has a black woman running his campaign, the bald lady. That's I don't remember her name. You know, and why do you think he's doing so poorly with African Americans? He's got a bald black. Yeah. Oh yeah. I don't know why she's bald, but she's bald. Why do you think he's doing so poorly among African Americans with a black running mate? That's supposed to help him with the black vote.
I think because people of all colors were overwhelmed by that convention, and I just think it changed the.
Yeah.
The convention.
Well, listen, we are all out of time for today.
Yeah, tomorrow. Don't worry about it. So go do what you've got to do today, and join us tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. Till then. On behalf of my son, Tyler Kane, who is also our technical director, Brian Craig, my co-host and friend, and of course, I'm yours truly, Steve Kane. Until tomorrow, God bless America.
In Florida, every day is a great day to grill.
All right, guys, listen. Thanks for tuning in. If you are new here, please subscribe and like the video. My name's Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Radio Show, the longest-running radio show in Florida. This is also the most pro-Donald Trump radio show anywhere in the world. And we're live on the radio on 4 radio stations every morning from 6 until 9 a.m. Eastern. And we live stream here on YouTube while we're on the radio. And I upload other videos too, including my podcast. So subscribe, like, and click the notification bell. All right, guys, I will see you all, later. All right, thanks for watching.